Tornado Tag Podcast, episode 131. We are here. We are on live on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and our brand new YouTube channel. So if you are watching this or listening to this back, please take 2 seconds, head over to our brand new YouTube channel, hit subscribe, hit like, and it helps us out a lot.
Because with 200 subscribers, then we can get the unique name.
Is it 200?
Yeah.
We can put it could be youtube.com/tornado tag podcast. So we can't do that until we 200.
It's like YZ.
Yeah. And then we don't getting paid or monetized till 1,000. So if you go really hard, ham, tell your friends about
and
it.
And then 1 million, we get that trophy award.
100,000.
Oh, is that? Okay.
100,000 subscribers, you get that. But yeah, I am here, Anthony Blackwell. I'm joined by our tribal chief, the head, the king, Macho Man.
Yeah.
And then also joined by Andy, the Macho Man header.
Is everyone gonna be the Macho Man?
The Macho Madness.
Okay. I see
Yeah.
what you're doing now.
And the sensational Miss Kelly. I put a little Miss Elizabeth and sensational Sherry.
Yeah.
Put a little
Must
both
in
of
his
them.
eyes.
He didn't have any other managers besides those two, right?
What?
No.
Gorgeous George
Yeah,
and
so
Molly.
Yeah.
In Miss Madness.
Yeah, Miss Madness, Mona.
Mona. Wasn't Medusa with him? For a
Yeah,
second
remember they were
too?
all all
now
three
I
of them.
remember
Holy
Medusa,
fuck, who
yeah.
wasn't with Macho Man?
Yeah. That was at
Oh, I know one
WCW
person
like
who
2000.
allegedly was. More on
Yeah.
that later.
Yeah. Allegedly. Yeah, we are here. We're back. Thank you guys so much. We want to thank our Patreon people. It's $1 or $5 donation. Helps us pay for some bills like the StreamYard we're using, Adobe, and all that other fun stuff. I did put some information on there that I didn't really share in the public about how our podcast did on there and kind of gave a year update of what their money has got them and what they did.
On Patreon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I mean, every time I went in there, I asked if they want new content or
Yeah.
anything special, and everyone's like, "No, we're just supporting, man. Keep going." I was like, "All right." So Keller Mountain Healing, that's you.
Crystal.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kelly Mountain Healing. That's somebody different.
Crystal Mountain Healing.
I'm gonna Google that. See if it exists.
What? Kelly Mountain Healing. There's gonna be definitely boobs,
There might be like, what if there's an independent girl named Kelly Mountain?
and she
Oh,
has
she's a big girl.
and she has
Name.
huge boobs.
I actually like that name.
Kelly Mountain,
Mhm.
Kelly Mountains. You have to.
That's a little too overt.
Yeah,
that's
that's-
too over the
Kelly
top.
Mountainside.
Kelly Mountain Rock.
Yeah.
And you play guitar.
Or never mind. Tommy Borzrath, Tree of Life Metaphysical Shop, Hireth, in other words, podcast, J Horror, and Austin. What's the Austin Blackwell? What's the update on Kelly Mountain over
Kelly Mountain is a peak in Idaho. There's actually a Kelly Mountain.
here? There it is.
Oh, and I'm stuck in Idaho.
There's the potatoes. You're back at home.
Yeah.
All right. And then we do have our website, www.iwepnetwork.com. You can head over there, leave us a review if you're on the website. If you're an Apple user, leave a review if you're listening on audio. All that stuff helps out. If you're listening to this audio later, take a screenshot of the episode title and tweet us or Instagram or Facebook and let us know you were listening and what you liked about it. Did you learn something about Macho Man today, or did you know everything because you are the coolest person ever?
Will you learn something?
Yeah, will you, or did you?
At the time of this recording.
Yeah.
It's not will, it's how much will you?
Yeah. Brian, hands down your favorite, right?
I've actually been having some like internal conflict about this lately.
Really?
Just because somebody has come back and has come back strong recently. And I'm thinking like, is Bryan Danielson my favorite wrestler ever? Like he might be. Like I'm kind of back and forth between him and Randy
All
Savage
right.
because I've seen this guy through his whole career.
I want to have a callback here. Now I
Okay.
know I know that sometimes what people do outside of things affect your love for them as a performance sometimes.
I still love Randy Savage, even though I know he's done some questionable things.
So
outside
I'm
of
going
it.
to ask. So when we did a podcast a while ago,
Mhm.
we said that there could be a run at that point in time of Jericho entering like a elite status of wrestler.
Yeah.
Does that change at all with like the pandemic season? 'Cause I know he took a lot of heat for some people.
No, I still respect Jericho for what he's done as a wrestler. Like, yeah, I'm fine with him. Like, do I agree with everything he's done in the last 2 years? No.
Yeah.
But no, I'm fine with that.
Because I think there's some people who were Jericho fans. Like, I think there's a side of his fan base now, especially on the Twitter side, that I'm more seen on Twitter than anywhere else. That like they're just not.
Like the internet overall is a cesspool of negativity, but
Mhm.
Twitter is where that negativity is concentrated the hardest.
Yeah.
So you got to
That's-
be careful with
it's
Twitter.
toxic
So-
Twitter, yes.
It's I think I don't want to be polarizing, but I think Facebook, for the most part, I have more like my right leaning friends on Facebook.
Really?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
more my like left looking to not like everything is on
Oh,
my
okay.
is on my.
I mean,
Twitter.
there's probably all big
Yeah.
amounts of both on all the platforms.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like I said, I have both on each side, but
Yeah.
I think what most of my people maybe I follow or I see because like I don't know are more like they're gonna take our guns, and then the other side of Twitter is like he said back in 1925 he said a bad word. Now I want all of his movies.
Yeah.
On my
Yeah. It's
Oh
like,
my
come on.
God.
yeah, it's like both sides, and I'm like, oh fucking wow.
You need to get on the middle of the the moderate social media.
Yeah, I need the middle where we just
Instagram seems fairly laid back.
Yeah,
Instagram
probably
is
because it's
just like-
mainly just pictures.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pictures of people's food and dogs and
And
stuff, and
boobs.
it's pretty cool.
and they're Kelly Mountains.
I'm sure there's a Kelly Mountain page probably on Instagram.
Speaking of Kelly Mountains, coming to
Where
PPW,
are we going here?
I don't
Chelsea
Yeah.
Green coming to.
Is that like her new name, Kelly
Yeah.
Mountain?
The reason I said Kelly Mountains is because she just also announced alongside of Brian Cage's wife, they just opened Patreon accounts.
Oh,
Melissa
okay.
Santos? Or-
Melissa Santos and Chelsea Green. That's why I said Kelly Mountains because it was another boob joke.
Oh.
But gonna be on just open Patreons. So
Oh,
if you're
okay.
into that stuff, go support them.
And I believe Scarlett Bordeaux said she's working on an OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I meant to say. They're both on OnlyFans,
Oh,
not
okay.
Patreon.
I was gonna say Patreon. I don't think you can.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think
That's
you
my
can do
bad.
that kind of stuff. On
Yeah.
Patreon.
Patreon, I think
Audio?
you go to a degree.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm wearing right now in audio format.
Yeah. No, they both started OnlyFans.
It's like
That-
the high-end phone sex. It would be.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh baby, oh baby, oh. It's like voice messaging. You know, you can't even video chat.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, I just learned that on. I just seen on the way when I was reading stuff earlier. And then the Santos one I heard.
Chelsea Green's with Zack Ryder, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And also PPW coming. PCO or no, not
That's
PCO.
this coming.
This week will be
PCO and Moose.
Moose, Jonah,
For the
and
December show, yeah.
Anthony Green.
Anthony Green, yeah.
Yeah.
He's wrestling KC.
And then the show that they announced Chelsea Green for, they announced Killer Cross.
That
Yeah,
is for
that's-
February.
Yeah. Okay. Are they not doing a January show then?
January they are. I think that's where they're going to have
Alexander
Hammerstone. I believe.
Hammerstone,
Oh, okay. I
And-
was just assuming this was all one
Maria,
show.
and Mike Kanellis.
Yeah,
Oh,
Maria-
that's right. Yeah, you're right.
Maria Kanellis and Mike Bennett. Thank you
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much. He has his last name back.
Mike Kanellis is doing
I forgot about that.
trademark. Was that just awful?
Yeah, you remember we did a bit on the show that you were a baby dad.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not going to be awkward at all if you bring that up at PPW. Please don't.
We did a bit where he was your baby dad on that stupid angle you had to do.
Yeah. That awful angle. Remember that angle that you hated? Yeah, we made fun of it.
Because we felt bad for you.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh,
but-
but he's a good wrestler though, but man,
Yeah.
his WWE run was the
and
shits.
she's like she can cut a promo.
Yeah.
She knows how to control a crowd. She's
Yeah.
fantastic.
If you just remember Maria Kanellis as the ditzy character she was when she was first in, and that was fun. And it was a little one note, but it was fun. She really came into her own in Ring of Honor in New Japan as a personality, as a heel, and
That skit
it
where
was very fun
that
to watch.
spot she did in New Japan where she's in her like panties and she's shaking her butt on this thing,
The- the
and Carl
fun-
Anderson.
Yeah.
The funniest part of that is when they would do trios matches with Anderson, Gallows, and AJ, and Anderson and Gallows would be mesmerized by Maria gyrating, and AJ would be like, "What are you doing this for?"
Yeah.
And then they would move his hair out of his eyes. You'd be like, "Oh,
Yeah, because he couldn't see.
Yeah, so fucking good. I'm just trying to think of some of those. PPW coming up next weekend, so we'll be there. Did you get your match yet?
No.
No
December, what is it, 11th?
11th, yeah."
Is that next weekend?
I think they only announced like
It is
two matches.
It is a week from Saturday. It'll be in Broadheadsville,
Yeah.
the Signature Training Academy, 137 Erin Lane. I'm doing all this without a script. How about that?
I love it.
I love the PPW plugs.
Yeah. Broadheadsville, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, PPW open season.
Mm-hmm.
Alpha Junior versus PCO. Anthony Green versus Casey Navarro.
Yeah,
PC or Moose versus
Moose versus Jonah, which is
Yeah.
the match everybody wants, and
John Rock, formerly known as
and,
Bronson
and
Reed.
PPW's in
Bull
it.
Hightower has issued an open challenge.
Very interesting.
Mhm.
Did not see that coming. Maybe they're starting a new bit with it.
I don't think they
Exciting.
have a match for Bro yet, do they?
Bro Keller defending against Facade
Oh, okay.
for the PPW heavyweight
we're,
title.
we're still figuring out who Adina's defending, who if Adina's defending, if Voss
Yeah.
is defending, and if Rembrandt is defending.
Yeah.
Rembrandt and
That's,
Cosmic.
that's the hard thing when you have
I'm-
5 titles. I meant that's 5 matches every show. So it's like, well, there's more than 5 titles.
Well,
isn't there?
they do about 7-8 matches. a
Yeah,
show.
they sometimes
I'm
do
curious
10.
as to if Rembrandt is even going to be there because it's the same day as the Big House of Glory show.
Is that the Red versus Black?
Yeah,
Ooh.
Malachi Black, and I know main event will be in in,
they got a
in
really cool.
Queens.
They got a really cool poster.
Yeah.
Yeah, who are they? I just saw who they were
The
wrestling.
Bolly brothers, the Bollywood boys.
The Bollywood boys, yeah,
Yeah.
the Singh brothers, formerly in WWE, are going to go
Yeah.
against the main
Ginger's
event.
former lackeys that Randy Orton used to throw around.
Yeah,
They
he's-
would,
Remember that?
they would bump like a pinball
Yeah.
for him.
that one time
were
where he
great.
he bumped him real hard on the table and Randy's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah. So there's a lot of cool stuff coming for PPW. Yeah, I'm really excited. The future for PPW is gonna be really fun. They have
A lot of people available now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stars to come in. Man,
Mhm.
they're coming with one shot, you know?
yeah.
There was that rumor. Freddie Prinze Jr. was saying he's like, I should do an indie company with all these release.
Yeah.
Luke Bushwhacker.
Yeah.
Luke Wacker Bush.
Yeah.
Whacker Bush.
Yeah.
That's my performance. of
Whacker
him.
Bush.
One of the bushwhackers
Yeah,
bought
one of
an
Luke
independent.
Bushwhacker bought a
You've been
independent
hitting the
company.
sardines, haven't you?
Yeah, maybe. He bought an independent company.
Oh, I wonder
It
what it is. Probably,
It's something
bought- it's he bought a stake in, I don't remember the initials. It's you know Tommy Fierro, right?
yeah.
Tommy Fierro ran an indie in like North Jersey, and he bought 50% of Tommy Fierro's company.
Yeah, it's like I think it starts with an I think I read because I was reading on that. on
Yeah,
the
and
website
because I
notes.
believe Tommy Fierro is the guy who runs that shop in New Jersey. It's called the Wrestling Collector. He's been in the wrestling industry forever.
Yeah.
He's been in the wrestling industry. Here we go. Bushwhacker Luke buys. I think he just bought a stake in it. It is ISPW, Independent
Okay.
Superstars of Professional Wrestling. And they were around back in the day, and I think Tommy Fierro recently resurrected them. And now he is partnering with Bushwhacker Luke.
Well, best
Yeah.
luck to him. Hope,
Mhm.
Yeah, I know
Absolutely.
Luke was involved for a bit with Ring of Honor.
Yeah. He even
Uh,
wrestled a few matches.
Yeah, I think he helped carry Silk and Book for a bit,
Yeah.
and then he would come out a little bit. Yeah, he would just come out and do like an appearance or wrestle a little bit.
I watched him wrestle Skyros.
Really?
Yeah, he wrestled Skyros in
Oh,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
the
Yeah.
Hall of Fame thing.
yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know Butch does. I think Butch is still in New Zealand. He doesn't get around so well anymore.
Yeah.
Like at the Hall of Fame, he was in
Luke's
rough shape.
fine.
Yeah, Luke's doing great.
he went way over on his match because he then after he won he cut a second promo
Oh,
after he cut
boy.
one before he wrestled,
Yeah.
and then after his second promo he went outside the ring, grabbed a bunch of kids, and then proceeded to march around the entire
Oh,
arena
God.
3 times doing the
Bushwhacker thing.
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Then went back into the ring and cut another promo.
Did he lick your head?
No,
No. Well, then
I
you
would've-
missed out.
I wanted to go down like ringside
Mhm.
and just be like, oh my god, please lick my head, even though
Mm.
it's a pandemic. Yeah, but he went long. It's pretty funny.
That's
The guy doing like sound was like,
Can you imagine being the guy after him though? Like,
Yeah.
hell
You got to cut everything short.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe that's new testing for
You gotta cut your
Omicron. Like
match in
Luke just
half.
comes in and licks your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hongi.
Oh, that tastes like
Yeah.
Omicron, mate.
all right. Anything else news wise or things going on? We can get out early here.
Yeah.
Indie wrestling wise, GCW has sold out the Hammerstein Ballroom
Good for them.
I will be buying it on Fight
in
if it's
quick
live.
order too. Yeah, they sold out. I know the big name they announced it's not a GCW regular. Eddie Kingston will be
Oh,
involved
wow.
in this one.
Do you think Eddie's taken a possible Moxley spot to kind of give
Yeah,
him?
I mean Moxley is
Maybe.
their champion. Maybe they hold up the championship and they do like Nick Gage against Eddie Kingston for the vacant championship.
When
or
is
something
this
like that.
show?
January 23rd. I
Maybe
believe.
Moxley would be for it. Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I believe it's
by
the
that time.
Sunday before the Royal Rumble.
Tell you what I would want to do after I just got stone cold sober and won't drink anymore. is
Just go to
is do a-
GCW.
is do a fucking death match.
Well, he doesn't
Yeah.
have to do a death match.
I'd be getting out of the ring like, fuck, I don't care. Get me whiskey. I have glass in my
get me
fuck-
JD.
Yeah, I
he
got
likes
fuck-
Jack Daniels.
Yeah. Get me. I have fucking glass everywhere.
Big Swole out of AEW.
Yeah.
She is
So now there's
Has
rumors
a
that she has
mutual
a,
agreement.
a Crohn's disease.
She
I don't know if
does.
that's true
No,
or not.
She does.
So
she does
And,
because
yeah,
when
that can
she,
hurt you.
when she first came in, that was somebody I kind of like. Wow, she's going through this
Yeah.
this problem, and that was kind of inspiring to me. But yeah, I guess it's starting to act up on her.
oh,
The
boy.
way
yeah.
it sounds like
Yeah,
at
that's
least.
one of those disorders where it's not like a constant thing, but when you get a flare up, it
Yeah,
can
it's
really
bad.
just
Yeah.
hurt you.
I know they said mutually, but I think like even if they didn't have a conversation,
It was
her
yeah.
contract was up, and they're like, we don't need you.
Well,
There's a
there-
handful of people that are everyone's
Yeah.
speculating it's probably gonna go.
Yeah, I think there's a couple people.
There
There probably
was-
about around 10.
There was that listing of people who haven't really been on, not dark, but like the TV, like Janela, Sunny
Mhm.
Kiss. Those people probably aren't long for the place.
Yeah, Peter Avalon.
Yeah.
Leva Bates.
Yeah, I mean, you got to free up some money for Keith Lee and
Mhm.
Ember Moon and Tegan Knox, and maybe
Kevin
Bray.
Owens.
Yeah, Kevin Owens. You got to free up some money because
Kyle
he's coming.
O'Reilly.
Yeah, Roddy.
Possibly Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Jeff Hardy.
So if you got all these people coming, You look around and say, well, we might not need him.
There's another rumor that the NXT Cruiserweight title may be soon to be retired again
I can see that.
because
How
for
many times have they retired that and brought it out of
twice.
retirement now?
Well,
In a matter of
just
how
the
many
one-
years?
Just the once. It never really went away. It was just on 205 Live for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah, it was forgotten.
Yeah, it
And
was
then that
forgotten.
got canceled though, right?
It's still going on.
Oh, it
That's-
is?
That's
still
so.
happening.
Oh my god.
I don't.
I thought it was.
It can't be going on for
canceled.
too much longer.
No.
But
Does Vince know it's still on?
probably not.
Vince.
What the hell is 205?
You idiot! It's
Yeah.
210.
Yeah.
No. It's T05 is on. That's still a thing.
It's for the cruiserweights. The what?
I like that Jack Gallagher. Put him on. We fired him, Vince.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Speaking what?
Yeah.
I'm
Um,
gonna speak out against you. I'm speaking out. I'm saying you're fired.
Nia Jax
Nia Jax.
announced her name, Lena Fanene.
That's her real name.
Yeah, which is her real name.
Yeah,
But then
she's
she
done
said,
wrestling.
yeah, she might be done wrestling. Well,
Highly unlikely, she said, to quote Gorilla Monsoon.
you might be done wrestling when no one wants to book you.
Yeah, it could be.
That
Possibly.
might
Well, then
be.
she
a
came
little-
out with a comment too, like, "Oh, me and Renee should have left a lot sooner than we did." Didn't
What's
you
that?
Her and Renee, like, she came out and quoted, like, her and Renee Young should have left a lot sooner than they
Well,
did.
Renee wanted to leave, but her
Yeah.
contract.
Yeah.
Yeah,
was running.
Renee, I could see, but really for Nia, I
Where
don't
was
see
Nia
any.
gonna go?
Yeah, I don't see any other work for her except WWE.
No.
They'll probably bring her back at some point.
I don't know. if she'll.
They
I don't,
brought
do-
Eva Marie back.
Yeah,
I don't think. Eve Marie has a 200,000 or 200 million subscribers on all social media. That's why they brought her back. But Nia, I don't see her even being like willing to take indie bookings. Like
I
would.
think Nia became expendable when The Rock's daughter got in the company. It's like, okay, we can appease The Rock with her.
yeah.
And then they aren't really appeasing The Rock because they threw a tribute show to him and he didn't show up.
Yeah. How about that? We didn't record since then, right?
I don't believe so. I think that was after our the remote show we did.
Yeah.
I think that was right after that. Just circling back to the GCW thing, or my brain just totally went blank. We're talking
I
about
hear ya.
something after that. The Nia Jax thing, and then I'm trying to mentally go through it here. I don't know what I'm circling back to. I was going to bring something up, and now I can't remember.
Big Swole. That's what.
Yeah. Oh, AEW people. Yeah. There was also talk about just with the cruiserweight title. I was actually going with NXT, but the cruiserweight title, because Roddy, if he's gone, he would be another guy that would be. Oh yeah, he could fit right in
Mm-hmm.
with AEW. With the cruiserweight title, the upcoming NXT War Games, not Takeover, this
Yeah.
Sunday. The cruiserweight title match is Roddy defending against Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy, well over
I was gonna say,
205 pounds.
Yeah.
Well, his whole gimmick, he's a heel, and his gimmick is he is woke.
Yeah.
And he is saying that the cruiserweight title having a weight limit is exclusionary.
That's funny. At least.
And,
I'm into this.
yeah, and he wants to take over the title and call it like the all-inclusive title or something
Oh,
like
God.
that.
I hope they change it to
And-
that.
And no, the idea is like Joe Gacy may win the title and then it goes away.
Yeah. I
Is what might
think
happen.
that will happen.
Just like the final
he
cruiserweight champion
was
before
using the
this
Travis
was
Dorian
Hornswoggle.
rules.
Yeah, Travis Dorian. Well, no, that was an honest mistake. It was said 250. They thought it said 205. Honest mistake.
Yeah.
And they didn't realize that we had an actual cruiserweight that was going to be there and just doing interviews.
Yeah.
Would have made everything a lot easier. But no, that was a
You got to wrestle in jeans.
What?
Do you have a wrestling jeans? He's asking.
Oh.
They said you could have filled in for the 205 spot because you're actually under 205. I
Oh,
said
yeah.
to wrestle
you could have been in the
jeans.
cruiserweight match of backbreakers instead of Dorian.
Oh,
at the
okay.
New
Yeah.
York
Yeah.
Summit.
I did. I was for Street Fight one time.
Yeah.
But
How sorry, real quick. How often, like, is backbreakers, would you say, like a consistent promotion for you, or is that like a off and on thing?
Yeah. Well, I tried to, since they started running like the shows. They were when they were in Scranton and they had their gym there or whatever you call it,
Yeah.
training center. Then they started doing shows, but they weren't as consistent doing shows. But since they moved to where they're at now,
Falcons.
I've just been just about all of them.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, just to throw it back to when we were there and did all those interviews, which hopefully you all watched.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun there, and but Andy was there as a kind of last minute thing because the booking fell through.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I see. Like, I'm getting new to backbreakers. That was like obviously our second show
Mhm.
there, and so I didn't know if you were like a staple there, or if that was just like, hey, like I didn't know their roster. You know,
Oh,
that's what
okay.
I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Because I always remember like when wrestling was big before the pandemic, like you were True a lot. You used to like with
I
True.
did there. Outbreak. You know.
What was
The
the other
last
one?
PPW show we were at, if you remember, Andy wrestled in his tag team gear because after he had his match at PPW, he got in his car and went right up 81 in the back
to
break.
back break.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. What was the other one you used? Not True. and it's not Beyond, but what the fuck was the other one that was
ACW.
ACW?
running.
No,
Atomic.
where
Yeah,
was
that was Atomic.
Trajan Champ?
True.
That was true.
True. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking True then. Okay, never mind.
They just had a big show. They had Wheeler Yuta there. at their
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
show.
Oh, the when Reading, the one you
That was
spoke-
Atomic.
Atomic.
Yeah, that was when they do the Club Reverb.
Yeah.
In Reading. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was fun.
I was actually in Reading one night when Andy wrestled there for Atomic and didn't go to the show because I was at a hockey game.
Oh, you were at a Royals game.
I
then.
was, yes.
They're a good time. Real good
The
time.
Royals games are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, you want to jump into the topic here?
Yep. I will never turn down the opportunity to talk about Randy Savage at any time. And Randy Savage, second generation wrestler, like many successful wrestlers of his time. Randall, I should say, Poffo.
Pafafo.
Poffo.
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 Randall Poffo.
Poffo.
Randy Poffo, born in Columbus, Ohio on November 15th, 1952, to Judy and Angelo Poffo. His father was a wrestler, Angelo Poffo. If you remember in the 90s, he was inducted into the WCW Hall of Fame just because they wanted to do it for Randy.
Mhm.
I mean, Angelo had a good career, but he wasn't. He didn't reach the heights that his son did.
Yeah.
And but he was a noted wrestler in the Chicago area. I believe the Poffos grew up in Downers Grove, Illinois. They always build Lanny Poffos being from Downers Grove, Illinois. And then they wound up moving to Kentucky. That becomes a lot more important later because Kentucky becomes central in Randy Savage's story later. Wrestling, he was one of those guys where wrestling was not his first love. He was a baseball player and a very, very good one. He was involved in the St. Louis Cardinals organization. He I don't think he ever made the big team, maybe just for like spring training.
He was just like double A.
Yeah.
That's about it.
And one of the things.
And the Reds, I think he was double
I'd
A.
love
The
to have
Reds,
that
yeah.
card.
I think he was drafted by the Cardinals, then was in the Red system.
when they show that like card of him.
Mhm.
It's like, wow.
Did you
he
ever
was
see what
clean
it-
shaven?
Did you ever see what it says on the back of that card?
Yeah, he dropping the elbow.
Yeah,
or
his
something.
swing has improved greatly by dropping his elbow. So prophetic.
Yeah.
That the master of the flying elbow.
Well, didn't he also like towards the end of his baseball career because he wasn't being used as much. He would go wrestle for his dad's company under a mask.
As the Spider, yeah.
Yeah.
He would wrestle as the Spider or
Then he went and wrestled Spider-Man. Yeah, because Bonesaw was ready.
Yeah.
I got you for 3 minutes.
that's to get ready for the show to kind of hype ourselves up. We were listening to "Be a Man"
Yeah.
from the Randy Savage rap album, also entitled "Be a
Be a
Man." Here's a
That's
little.
why we're drinking beer, because we were inspired. Now we want to be like men, and we're gonna go look under the hood of a car.
Okay.
I don't
Andy's
know.
like, sure, I'm gonna have Christmas.
Yeah.
lights on."
I don't know
And
what
I'm
we're gonna
drinking
do
tea.
when we open the. We're gonna ask her what everything is in there.
I'm gonna be like,
Kelly, help us fix this car.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
it's fine.
Not
leave it
anymore. We
alone.
ruined it.
That's
Put the foot down, boys.
that's the fridge.
Where does this go?
That's the fridge. Yeah.
William
would not be
Perry's here.
good.
There you go.
So yeah, he was
Speaking of the great rapper, William Perry.
he rapped.
Didn't he do
Oh,
that?
the Super Bowl Shuffle.
Oh,
yeah.
that had a bunch of football players in
that's
back in the
Chicago,
day.
yeah, the Chicago Bear people or
And the
whatever.
Chicago Shuffle.
Yeah.
which was the inspiration for the legendary Wrestle Rock Rumble. If you
Yeah.
So I never knew that Wrestle Rock thing existed,
Oh,
and I
it's
seen it
awful.
on TikTok one night,
really,
and I'm watching it. I'm like, why is Virgil just fucking being a dick? Like he's not even.
Virgil's not in that.
I know what's the one Virgil's in where he's just arms crossed and he won't sing.
Oh,
and
that's probably If You Only Knew.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
If you only knew, and Virgil's just like not singing.
The Wrestle Rock Rumble is from the AWA, and it's
Oh, okay, yeah.
awful, and it's
I'm gonna have to look this up now.
we're gonna have to watch it after the show. It's great. It's so good, it's bad, or it's so bad, it's good.
Is it one of the
So
Von
bad,
Eric's?
it's good.
One of the
Yeah.
Von Eric's rap?
I don't
No,
think
this is
that-
AWA, not
Yeah,
World
so it's like
Flex.
Vern Gagne.
Vern Gagne
Oh.
raps.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking. Vern Gagne.
Baron Rashke.
Greg Gagne raps. Sheik Adnan Al Casey
Yeah.
raps. The Rockers rap.
The Rockers.
Kurt
rap.
Hennig and Scott Hall rap. And the one person that's actually two people are okay. Nick Bockwinkel,
Yeah.
not the worst rapper you've ever heard
And
in
Shawn
the
Michaels
80s.
because he's good at
No,
everything.
no. He's awful.
I disagree.
Probably the best rapper of the bunch is Larry Zabisco.
Wow, how about that?
Yeah.
My dear close personal friend Larry Zabisco.
You guys hugged.
Well, the
The whitest
Yeah.
of the white right there for that rap song.
he rapped about the new world odor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zabisco was like BP. So it was crazy.
Yeah, old friends.
Yeah.
Old friends.
Jimmy Hart came up and smacked me on the butt. Sup, baby?
How you doing? Want some beans and taters? I got beer case. Okay, hip
He was at the True Show too.
Yeah.
Jimmy Hart was there.
Joe had a little run in with him. I guess I think he got hit with the microphone or something.
Oh,
no,
cool.
Like Joe took a bump or something like that, similar. But
He's running into all the legends. He's having trouble with Capetta. He's having trouble. You're talking about Joe Davis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's having trouble with Capetta. He's
Yeah,
having
that
trouble
was
with Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy Hart was at the PCWA show,
that's what it was.
and not the True Show.
Oh,
and then he
my
went to
mistake.
the show that I would have been at if I wasn't indisposed. He went to CCW then too.
yeah. Real quick. Speaking of Joe Davis, filled out the new form. He's someone to look forward to in the future.
That'll
So
be fun.
If you want to come on the podcast as a guest, you don't have to be a wrestler. You can be a manager, referee, a booker, just a wrestling fan, a podcaster, wherever it may be. Come on and hang out with us. If you don't want to do an interview, just be like, hey guys, I was always really into insert wrestler name here, or I really like this show. And that'll be the topic and we'll talk about it. It'll be fun. It doesn't, like I said, always, you don't have to come in here and get interviewed if you don't want to. We can do a topic. But yeah, head over to our link tree and hit the very first tab. It says, do you want to be a guest? Click here and you fill out the form. And we put the form out a couple days ago or yesterday, and we got a lot of fun people coming. A lot of fun people who I didn't think were going to fill it out, and they did. Now I'm like, oh, I actually wanted to always talk to them. Because every time it's like, yo, how can I be on your show? And I was like, yo, just hit me up on a Thursday and we'll do it. And no one ever really takes me up on it.
People are like, yeah, I'll get to you.
Because here's the thing. I think in the wrestling business, especially, or in like this podcasting thing, when people are like, hey, I want to be on your show, I legit want you to be on the show too. But I have a weird thing where I don't like asking either. It's one of those like, I don't want to bother them, or I think they don't like. I think the initial feeling I get is like I'm not taken seriously as a podcaster. Like I feel like it's one of those things still that people are like, because it's one of those things where everyone can do it.
Yeah.
So when people imagine I'm a podcaster, it's like when people tell you I'm an independent rapper and like, oh, you're probably like, or I have a studio in my house.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's one of those where they're like, oh, you're
It's that
probably
old saying, a group of white men is called a podcast.
yeah. But like we're at a pretty good level here. We got good equipment. We're invested.
You've got the chief of podcasting with you.
The chief. You are chief. I acknowledge you. But yeah, so click that link and sign up and come join us.
So back to Randy Savage, and he is now breaking in the wrestling. The baseball thing did not work out. He was good.
And Randy took all his bats and he went out in the front yard and he smashed every single bat against that tree until they were all broken.
The genius, Lenny Poffo.
That is a great impression. Randy Savage is.
See,
Well, Randy
everyone's do Macho Man impression. I'm here for the genius impression.
If I could do what he did, I would never leave the house. Yeah, he's gifted. Huh?
I watched the Macho Man documentary in preparation for this, and this is gonna sound really, really mean, and I'm not trying to be mean, but I either forgot or didn't know what Macho Man's mom looked like, and when she popped on screen for the first time,
who's this old bitch?
It was oh boy, it threw me off. I'll say.
What are you expecting? Someone younger or
no,
someone
she
that looks different?
She all right.
I don't know.
I feel horrible talking about my favorite wrestler's mom like this, but she looks like the Leprechaun from the Leprechaun movie.
Well, hey, they all can't be good looking.
Oh my gosh, she's a sweetheart in the whole documentary. Like you look like she'd fucking be the greatest person on the planet.
That's all that matters in the end. Come on, boys.
Fast forwarding to the end, like a lot of the later part of his life, he spent taking care of his mother. That was
he loved his family to the bitter end.
Oh, immensely.
Yeah.
And that to the point where that is something he really pushed for his father to be put in the WCW Hall of Fame, because that meant so much to him.
Well, he won it in the WWE or WWF at the time.
Well,
Vince wouldn't do it.
There's a lot of conjecture as to why Randy Savage was not put in the Hall of Fame until after he died.
Yeah, we'll get to that though.
Yeah, there's the big one. But one of the other things that I know Lanny has said is that he only wanted to go in as a member of the Poffo family. Like he wanted Lanny and Angelo to go in with him. And look, and you would think, oh, okay, Lanny Poffo. But the thing with that is she kind of looks like Randy. She looks a lot like Randy.
She does, yeah.
If Randy was an old woman, that's what Randy would look
no
like.
beard.
Not the Leprechaun, but if you've ever seen Poltergeist 2,
That's what it was.
She looks like a nice old lady.
She does.
Yeah.
She does, but she threw me off the first time.
she looks like the pastor.
Was it like seeing Brian Pillman Jr.'s mom?
I'm like, whoa.
Now we're like, whoa.
No, not like that. There's two different types of woes, where it's like old and weird low, and like a holy Hannah, you're.
That's what happens when you have too much distrusity.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you're hanging out with the crazy wild man your whole life for a good chunk of your life.
Wild men.
Yeah.
She got some distrusity before Pillman.
When you do what MJF says.
That's true. That's a big part.
Yeah.
So Randy's getting out of baseball and getting into wrestling, and the Poffo name. He wanted to come in as Randy Poffo, son of Angelo Poffo. Ole Anderson was running Georgia Championship Wrestling, and that was where he broke in. And he said he wrestles like a savage, and hence Randy Savage.
Yeah, what a name. Like,
Randy
you couldn't ask
Savage.
for a better name for wrestling.
You couldn't. And then
Unless your name is Richard Blood.
yeah, and then you change it to Ricky Steamboat.
Because you look
I'm
like a
Steamboat.
Hawaiian dude.
I think he was like, what, half Japanese or something?
Yeah, something, yeah.
Goddamn those half Japanese wrestlers.
Do it to me every time.
One person got it. And so the Macho Man part came because you had the Village People song Macho Man. So much of those things were taken from music and movies back in the day.
Yeah, I also read too that his mother
did,
Yes, his mother read somewhere that macho would be like one of the new words of the new.
Well, Macho Man was
era?
probably because of the song, like
Yeah.
how they have the word of the year now. Like this year, the word of
Yeah.
the year was vaccine.
Mm.
Like Macho Man was like a big term
It's
because
Like they just came out with it.
You know what's gonna be now? Bing bong. Everyone's doing that because that TikTok of that guy. He goes to like Coney Island and interviews like these crazy people on the street, and they're like, "Who's the president?" He's like, "Joe Byron."
Oh,
And he's like,
I seen
and
that.
he's like, "What are you gonna do?" "I'm gonna give him a kiss." And he goes, "Oh, we," or something like that. Like I don't know. It's just like this weird.
My
I
friend
missed
sent me
that.
the one. It's all these like it's
Just-
all the whack pack in Coney Island.
Yeah, it's like the Whack Pack
Yeah.
from Howard Stern.
I got 7 wives. Look me up on Instagram. I was like, what the what?
I fucking miss Beetlejuice. About 6'7", 350. You're like you're 4'2". Like
so yeah. I mean, it was his mother was the one that Judy Poffo
Yeah.
was the one that suggested the Macho Man term, but it did come from I believe it came from the Village People song. That just happened so much back then. Nature Boy was a song.
Mhm.
You ever wonder why were so many wrestlers called Nature Boy? Where did that come from? It was a song, and
Wasn't as popular as Macho Man or
well,
Macho.
it was
from-
No.
at the time.
I guess
Yeah.
at the time, but it didn't last.
could you imagine if we still did that today?
What?
We'd have
Name
like
that-
so many wet ass pussies running around.
Oh God. Well, I don't think he really.
Wop
Yeah.
wop.
It's a terrible wrestling name.
I hate that song.
I'm sure if there was a song that was like,
They're like, the rule is you have to be the next big song, and you're like, wet ass. And you're like, can I wait for the next one?
Well, we would have had
We opt out of this one.
we definitely would have had a wrestler about 10, 15 years ago nicknamed Chocolate Rain.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
absolutely had
Oh,
it.
Yeah.
God.
he had Kid Cash that was modeled after
Or-
Kid Rock.
Yeah,
Maybe we can get the Island Boys.
we already
The
had them, Kilo and ECMO.
Yeah, the Lonely Island Boys.
No, there's a new trend where not new guys that are out like, and they have crazy hair. They look
Uh-huh.
like Wild the Thornberry's
I
kid,
heard.
and he's called Island Boy.
Oh,
They call Island Boy. They sing a song about Island Boys. I don't know. It's
I
a
don't know. I don't know either.
Yeah.
So,
You have to know. You're on a podcast.
yeah.
yes. Oh, okay. And yeah, they're like a trend, and I honestly everyone hates on them, but I'm like, good for them. They just made a video, put it on the internet, and fucking it blew up, and now they're rich.
Are they to?
Fucking
Are they
fingers
are they
crossed,
music
baby.
people? Or are they?
They try to be, but they're not.
Okay, so are they to music like the
You would
Walmart
hate-
guys
you-
were to wrestling?
You would hate.
I think
No,
so.
worse.
It seems
Yeah,
like
Do you
it.
see what I'm? Oh, worse.
Worse. See, when you
Oh,
said
boy.
Island Boys, I thought 3 Minute Warning. It was
Yeah.
it was they were called Jamal and Rosie.
Yeah.
And one is Rikishi's brother, he later became Umaga, and the other one was Roman Reigns' older brother, who later became Rosie. He was a superhero in training.
Mhm.
When they were in developmental, they were called the Island Boys. But then Eric Bischoff would tell people they had 3 minutes to do something. Then after 3 minutes, these big Samoan guys would come out and just beat the hell out of them.
Yeah, it was
If
awesome.
you remember when they did the hot lesbian action angle,
HLA.
they had the two lesbians come out. They were like two Southern California indie workers, and then they got them very undressed, and they were doing some very light petting, and then they had these two Samoan guys just come out and kick the shit out of them.
That's the coolest thing ever.
But they beat up Mae Young too, didn't they?
Yeah, but
Or, yeah.
I rewatched this for some reason like a few years ago. They beat the hell out of those girls. They killed
Well,
them.
did you see when Umaga almost killed Steve-O?
He killed everybody.
Yeah,
No,
well,
like so Steve-O
Steve-O deserved it.
Steve-O was in the ring,
No,
and he was
Umaga was
At the
good.
time,
and he was
he's
hot.
changed now.
Yeah.
he was high as fuck,
Mhm.
and he was supposed to take a bump, but he didn't know he was
Yeah.
gonna take a he knew he was gonna get clothesline,
Right.
but that's all they told him.
Yeah.
And then he takes the clothesline and he just laid there and he was like shocked, and he just I guess he didn't like that he was like not selling because he
Right.
was like, what the fuck? I
Yeah.
didn't think you were hit me that. So he just kept kicking him, and Steve was like, ow, please stop.
I'm
But
not going to pretend that I know a whole lot about how wrestling really works, but I know never do that to a Samoan.
Yeah.
Ever,
And they-
ever.
And then he drops an elbow on him, and Steve was like, at that moment, I'm knocked out cold. I don't know anything after that.
That's what someone he got off light.
Yeah.
He got off light.
It was like live on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Steve-O just gets killed by
Steve-O
Umaga.
got lucky. He's lucky he didn't get really killed.
Yeah.
You know what? He's been through a lot, like through Bam Margera and Jackass. He went through a lot.
I'm sure the new movie's gonna be great.
Oh.
I cannot. Actually, that's an anticipated movie for me. Part 4. I will watch all of them.
I'd rather stare at a wall.
Really?
Yeah.
None of that entertains you at all.
No,
Oh, you're nuts.
I don't care.
I was
about that
entertained
at
when
all.
I was like 20.
Yeah,
I'm
when I
almost-
was
I'm
younger,
almost 40 now.
when I was in my
Listen,
teens,
I will
loved
chuckle
Bam
still at
Margera.
someone falling down, especially if they're willing to do it.
Yeah, it's lost its appeal to me. I think.
That was mainly not the gross out stuff where they drank milk and stuff like that. This isn't funny. This is just
Or he
stupid.
puts them in a porta potty and launches them like
Yeah.
one of those
Yeah,
balls. That's hilarious to me.
no, thank you.
We're good.
Yeah.
Teach their own.
Different age groups.
Teach
We're
their
an
own.
age group. I don't
Yeah.
know if you two are an age group, but
Closer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe after 35, you get something. I don't know. Maybe that's the thing.
I'll still laugh at poop and
well,
fart
no,
jokes.
I'm 35.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'll laugh at.
I'm
I'll be
good.
35 in a couple days.
All right. Well. All right. I don't know what it is then.
Yeah.
I think it's that we didn't partake in something.
Yeah.
before the show.
I don't know. I never was into Jackass at all.
I loved it. All right, let's get back. Sorry, here we take like weird ADD like tangents.
You
I
keep,
thought you said tit. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it happens. Let's get back to this.
you keep getting off the topic here. Yeah, I don't like it. I know I'm very
Let's go back,
unhappy
Chief.
with
Chief,
you.
you roll us back in.
Thank you.
Reel us back in here.
Yes. The chief must bring us back into the center here. So Randy Savage is starting his career now. He has a name. He has a nickname. He's starting in Georgia Championship Wrestling. Doesn't last long there. Again, the Poffos were living in Kentucky at the time. Kentucky was still part of the kind of the overall Memphis territory at this point, which it's not quite the Jarretts yet. It's the Goulasses. It's Nick Goulas and his son George. And the Goulasses are not the best promoters ever. George Goulas was Nick Goulas' son. Nick was the promoter. George was an awful wrestler who Nick decided should be the centerpiece of the company. Imagine like the whole when people got mad about Triple H being pushed because he was Vince's son-in-law, but at least Triple H was a good wrestler.
Yeah.
You might think there were people who are more deserving.
Triple H just still could have been a Hall of Famer
Yeah,
without being married.
Yeah, even if you don't think he's that great, I don't. He was a competent wrestler. He was a very competent wrestler.
It wasn't bad.
He's a decent main event level guy. I don't think he's a guy I would have built the company around, is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
And so basically, that leads to a territory war, and Jerry Jarrett and Jerry Lawler take over Memphis. But Angelo Poffo has other ideas, and he's going to start his own outlaw company, International Championship Wrestling, mainly out of Kentucky. But that is the northern part of the Memphis territory. It's near like Jackson, Tennessee, and places like that. And so there's a territory war. And for a while, the Poffos are blackballed. And like their name is Mud. Like if you're working for that company, you're
Can't work for us.
you can't work
One
for the
of them
NWA.
things. Yeah.
You're out. That's why the NWA was a thing. It was a cartel. If you work for somebody that's not part of the NWA, you're done.
Mhm.
They very much had a mob mentality.
And at this point in time, their big star is Jerry the King Lawler.
Jerry Lawler, yeah. Jerry
Well,
Lawler.
Memphis, yeah. He's
Yeah.
king of Memphis.
Jerry Lawler. Jackie
Fun
Fargo
thing.
is like semi-retired at this point.
Yeah.
Bill Dundee's a big star.
Because Jackie Fargo was big in this 50s and 60s.
But everybody saw very, very, very early on the potential that Randy Savage had. His athleticism for the time was off the charts. He had that intensity, he had great size. Eventually, he got the promo. The promo was the last thing. I'm going to throw a little plug before the plugs. A few weeks ago on Cheesesteak Suplex, you can find it at project210.com. We talked about like the origin of like a lot of catchphrases and things people lifted from other people. One of the big things we talked about was the, oh yeah, like if you think of Randy Savage, that's one of the first things you think of. And for a while, Angelo Poffo, when Randy Savage and his brother Lanny Poffo were teenagers, Angelo Poffo worked in Hawaii. The Hawaiian territory was owned probably at that point, if it wasn't owned by The Rock's grandmother, she was helping. Leah Maivia was a big part of that. Lord James Blears was probably running it at that point too. But the Hawaii territory was big because when people would work there, because like you might not get paid great, but it's a vacation.
Yeah, it's Hawaii.
You're in Hawaii. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I said. You're literally in paradise.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
gonna lay on the beach all day and then
As
wrestle
long as
for
I
15
have
minutes.
enough to make what I need,
Yeah.
you know,
And,
I'm
and after a
good.
show, I'm sure you can probably take a nice woman back to your room.
You could probably do that
Yeah.
if you're so inclined. But the other thing that Hawaii had going for it is flights. A lot of people would do tours of Japan at that point, and you would fly from LA to Japan or LA to Hawaii, because it's kind of in the middle of the Pacific there. You would do a night or two in Hawaii, and then you would fly to Japan and do your tour. So it was a layover town too, and people from Japan would fly over because it's not that long of a flight. So they would have Japanese stars that wouldn't work in the mainland. They would have people coming from there to Japan, people coming for a vacation, local people, and they were always transfixed by King Curtis Ayakea. He was one of the big stars there. If you remember the Dungeon of Doom, he was the big guy in the chair going, "Sullivan, my son,"
That had like dust and dirt on him.
"from the winds of the Serengeti." He would just have these wild promos that were just ridiculous. But he was a great promo for the day. But the guy that really would enrapture Randy Savage was this guy called Pampero Firpo. He was called like the Mad Bull of the Pampas. He had like wild hair, a big beard, and he was like the crazy guy.
And he would have the deep gravelly voice, and he would always end his promos like, "Oh yeah," and
oh yeah,
Yeah.
It was a little bit different. It didn't have the same flow as Macho Man's.
So yeah, but Savage kind of
you took the gravelly voice.
because Randy Savage didn't really talk like that.
Yeah.
For the most part, because Lenny Poffo said that he was talking back and forth with him, and then
He said as soon as he hit that voice, he never heard
he
his
was like-
brother's voice again.
I said he's got it.
right, and he's like,
That's their quote.
I never heard my brother's real voice again.
Yeah.
Give us that.
I never heard my brother's real voice again. I one time did commentary for New Japan, but they didn't bring me back because I called Tanahashi Tanahishi. True story.
If you're listening to the audio, that's
Yeah, the genius is here.
yeah, he's sitting next to Andy.
He was in the corner doing something before. But
Yeah.
No, that was Louis C.K.
nah, if Louis C.K. can do what Lanny Poffo did, I would
Yeah.
be very impressed.
Well,
don't
Louis
think-
C.K. did. Everyone could do.
I don't think Louis is that flexible.
Oh,
They say Lanny Poffo didn't need his hands for that.
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you're a genius, you got big brain.
Yeah.
big head.
Big everything.
Maybe missing a few parts of his spine though.
I want a genius T-shirt.
I have one.
They
came-
have a genius.
One came in a pro
Really?
wrestling crate.
Wow.
Does it talk about the brothers Beverly?
Yeah.
I
And
think
Mr. Perfect is the perfect man.
yeah. I thought I showed that yet.
Maybe I
It
forget.
was a
though.
red one, and he actually wrote. It was a note from Lenny Poffo, the
Oh.
genius, on the shirt.
Oh, that's cool.
This is just Lenny Poffo, the genius.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So even before he was a genius, he was doing that poetry thing. He would read poems on frisbees and he would throw them out in the crowd when he was leaping Lanny Poffo. And if you used to order stuff from the WWF catalog back in the 80s, because I remember he ordered something from there one time. I think it was like a Hulk Hogan t-shirt and maybe a few other things. You would get a free frisbee that had a Lanny Poffo poem on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they would actually get that as like
Some of that old merch was just really cool.
It was.
Like the LG shoulder pads. I always want them as a kid. Never got them.
If you look back at the old,
Undertaker's urn,
Yeah, that's cool.
the foam one.
there's a promo on YouTube. They used to do like things where like the people in the catalog would come to life. There's one where Dusty Rhodes is talking about all the different things you can buy, and he's like, "Look at this! It's a Ultimate Warrior sip cup, like a sippy cup." And he goes,
Sick cup.
"Sick cup."
I would buy an Ultimate Warrior sippy cup.
No, it's a sick cup.
Sick.
That Raw mag or the WWE magazine or Raw magazine when it had all
Mhm.
the ads in there. Oh my god, I used to be like fucking, I hate being poor.
Yeah, because the catalog for the merch had the wrestlers wearing their shirts.
Yeah.
And it was really cool.
Well, not the One Rocker shirt. The One Rocker shirt that was like the oversized shirt that you could wear as a night shirt if you're a little kid.
I know who wore
Somebody
it.
else wore that.
I know who
Oh.
wore it. Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah, she
Oh, really?
did.
Oh, wow.
A very young Stephanie McMahon modeled the Rockers t-shirt.
I wish I had that. magazine.
Marty Jannetty.
Oh.
Speaking of rockers, real quick, we'll take a detour. Marty Jannetty just posted on
You stopped that detour. Who wore that shirt?
It's been 0 days since Marty Jannetty said something dumb on Facebook.
Marty Jannetty just put on
We
Facebook.
just have that counter
Yeah.
anymore.
It's a picture
0
of a
days.
counter, and he goes, "Man, when you're really you need to pick me up, you just need to have some sugar in your life." And he has 3 lines of sugar chopped out like cocaine lines.
I just want to hear more about this Rockers t-shirt. Yeah.
Poor Marty. See what happens when you get thrown through the window? Your whole life.
I may have.
This is why Andy was preemptive and he may
Yeah.
have jumped the gun on
Yeah.
Matt Turner because he didn't want to go through.
I
that
ain't going
window.
through no window. I know
Yeah.
what happened.
I actually have a T-shirt coming in. That's the Rockers breakup
Oh, through the window?
from Homage. There was Homage had their sale on Black Friday. I
Mhm.
got the barbershop window shirt, and I got a shirt that looks like the NBA Jam. When you played NBA Jam, you got 2 players.
Okay.
And it had like speed, agility, dunk, It's Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan.
I love
Oh,
that
that's
shit. I've seen
cool.
the ads for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then it says like for Weasel, he's jacked all
Oh
the way up.
yes, I did see that.
And
Yeah.
Gorilla Monsoon's like integrity's all the way
Yeah.
up.
Or, I think it's vocabulary because it
Yeah.
was like external occipital protuberance and
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
that.
But it's an NBA Jam shirt. I don't have any commentary T-shirts, so that's like
Yeah, that's a good one to get.
yeah.
So the Poffos are running opposition, and they're running the ICW International Championship Wrestling, and they do have TV. They had TV in Kentucky,
What they do here is genius.
and
No
They
pun
do.
intended.
they do. Well, they actually revealed some. Well, they did an angle where Ronnie Garvin was feuding with Randy Savage and Lanny Poffo, and they actually revealed like that's his brother. Like nobody that was supposed to be like hidden, and Ronnie
Yeah.
Garvin revealed that Lanny Poffo and Randy Savage were
Well,
brothers.
I was saying too, what
That's
was
his
genius,
brother, hey.
what they tried doing too, because how he was calling out Jerry. Like
yeah, he
Jerry-
would call out Lawler.
And he was like, "You're afraid to wrestle me, Jerry." And
Mhm.
he pretty much booked a dream fight that everybody wanted.
Yeah.
Because they kind of knew their company wasn't doing good financially, so they wanted to make a deal to go there.
That was always the plan. Yeah, I think that was always.
ECW used to use that a lot
Mhm.
too. Like, what's the worst that can happen? They actually cut a promo and respond.
Yeah, Shane
Like,
Douglas would
yeah.
constantly call out Ric Flair. They call him
Call out pussies for other federations, and you know they're not gonna show.
Dick Flair.
Yeah, it's like
yeah, but that's essentially what Macho Man did with Jerry Lawler,
Yeah.
and it when their company went under, it kind of worked.
The other big thing that happened there is the secretary for the TV station they were on was I believe the station manager's daughter, and they used her as like an interview person and a host for the TV show. Elizabeth Hewlett,
mhm.
who would take a liking to the Macho Man.
Elizabeth, yeah. Uh-huh. I'm gonna lock you in a closet now.
Yeah.
That never happened.
But my brother never locked her in the closet.
So yeah, as you said, they did wind up making nice with the I think it was called CWA at that point, Continental Wrestling Alliance. Before this happened, though, there were crazy things going on. There's a legendary story because they would go up and down these highways of Western Tennessee, and everybody was strapped. Everybody was ready to like get into firefights with the people on the other side. And it almost happened once between Randy Savage and Bill Dundee. They were at a gym, and one of them saw the other one in there, and they were about to shoot each other, and then it got diffused very quickly.
Bill Bundy would do a lot of the booking for Memphis.
Yeah,
And he did wrestle,
Is
and then
Bill Dundee the
He-
guy who would show up at a show and be like an indie show, and he'd be like, "I'm booked."
No,
Who was that guy? Jericho was talking about it on his podcast.
I don't think so.
I'm sure there's a
Was
lot
it?
of guys
Was
who
it?
did
Who was
that.
it? No, it wasn't Jericho. Who the fuck said he was running? Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy was saying that he used to run a promotion down south,
Omega, yeah.
and there's an old school guy. Like pretty much the reason he made the big money Matt angle is because it was a guy.
Oh no, it was the guy that trained Matt and Jeff that brought them.
Italian Stallion,
yeah, they got
and
them to WWE.
he'd be like, "Oh, if you want to go up to the next
Yeah.
show, you got to give us a cut." And then
Gary
he said,
Sabal, yeah.
and then
Italian
after
Stallion.
that, he ran in with another guy down south where he showed up at his show, and he's like, "You said I'm booked here," and he goes, "I'm
Yeah.
sorry, sir, you're not booked here." And it was like an old school guy, and I guess he
Mhm.
used to carry on a gun, and he would start fights with people and stuff. I don't know what legend it was though.
No, all those old guys carry.
But
Yeah.
pretty much Matt was just like stood up for himself. He's like, "You can see," he goes, "I know I didn't book you because I don't book names here.
Yeah.
It's all us."
Yeah,
And he's like,
Yeah.
"Well, can I at least sit at my merch table?" And Matt was like, "I was 17 years old telling this legend that like that would fucking kill me."
Yeah.
I'm guessing the guy you're talking about is the Italian Stallion. That's he was a kind of enhancement guy.
He said cowboy something.
no,
that definitely isn't Bill Dundee.
Yeah,
Bill
yeah.
Dundee was Australian.
yeah, and he kind of looked like
He was
a
very
rip off
short.
Elvis. Yeah,
No,
Uh,
I'm not sure.
Bill Dundee, modern fans may know him most because he was Sir William. He was
Mhm.
Lord Steven Regal's manager for a little bit in early '90s WCW. He was a very big star in the USWA in Memphis because Memphis was one of those places because there's this theory that promoters, especially promoters that are wrestlers or very close to wrestling, will kind of build their company and their own image. Like Vince sees himself as a bodybuilder. He cares a lot about muscles, so he books big guys. Bill Watts was a football player, legit tough guy. He wanted football players and legit tough guys. Fritz Von Erich wanted his kids. And so Jerry Jarrett was a smaller guy. And Memphis, they didn't really care how big you were. Like they had big guys like Sid came through there. You had guys like that. But size wasn't an obstacle in Memphis. Jerry Lawler would never be confused for Hulk Hogan. Bill Dundee was very short,
yeah.
but he was a good wrestler, fearless. He was one of the guys that really liked to bring in the scaffold matches, and he had the best scaffold matches because he had zero fear of heights. In the offseason, when he wasn't wrestling, he would do stuff with the circus.
Oh,
And he was a trapeze artist, so he didn't care about heights. He had no fear of that. But yeah, Bill Dundee and Randy Savage almost had this standoff, but everything kind of settles down and they make nice. And Randy Savage makes his way to Memphis, and you do have the dream matches with Jerry Lawler. It paid off, and I think Angelo Poffo was really teeing things up for his kids. But the thing is that the Memphis run doesn't last long because Randy Savage is so talented. He's so good that when Vince is going national, it's only a matter of time before he comes calling.
Mhm.
Randy Savage was can't miss. He had everything you need. He had size. He wasn't as big as Hogan, but he was big. He could talk. He had a character. He could do everything. And so in 1985, he comes into the WWF, and the big storyline when he comes in is every heel manager wants him. He's like the big free agent. This is before free agency was even a thing in sports.
This is a cool angle. I remember watching this back.
Yeah, and they've done it with other. I think the last time they did this was in Impact. They did it with Bobby Roode.
Because at that point in time, man, the heel manager was fucking awesome. He had a ton of them.
Every heel had a manager.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah,
back
pretty
then.
much.
'Cause
Like
they knew, like, hey, this guy can't talk. Give him a manager. Problem solved.
even the guys that could talk, Rick Rude could
Yeah,
talk. They gave him
yeah.
a manager.
The heel manager at that time was so much fun. I loved it. That was like my favorite time when we had
Yeah, I
managers.
wish there were more heel managers.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only heel that didn't really have a manager was Piper because he started as a manager and he just started wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why he didn't have one.
Well, and Jake the Snake, but he's a little bit later in time.
And he was a
baby.
babyface for a while too.
Oh, was he?
Well, when he first came in, he was a heel. And he didn't have a
I
manager.
can remember him as a kid being the villain.
Yeah, like
you know?
WrestleMania 2, he was a heel because that's when he wrestled that guy George Wells, and he like put the snake on him, and then George Wells started like foaming at the mouth. He was a heel for a little bit, but he became a babyface pretty quick.
Yeah.
Was there any face manager at that time? Or was only heels had managers?
Not real.
I'm trying to think.
I mean, what we're getting into in introduction.
Matilda. Does Matilda count?
I was gonna say because what we're getting into, what I'm thinking, the reason
I think
asked,
Slick had a real brief face run.
I was wondering if
I think they brought him in as like the replacement for Freddie Blassie.
Yeah, but didn't he have a face run
Later,
then?
as Reverend
Yeah,
Slick.
yeah, I think he,
what I'm saying at that point in time was Elizabeth soon to be the only face manager.
I believe
Well, she
so.
was a babyface that managed to heel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
she instead of her being, she wasn't that manager who was costing the match. She was actually
Right.
almost like
yeah,
a beacon of light.
Jimmy
on-
Hart was
Yes.
still bad. Then maybe
Yeah.
you could say what's his name that was with Arnold Scotland.
Yeah, he was gone by then.
Yeah,
Back,
yeah.
Scotland was backstage. There weren't really babyface managers. Like if you had like a guest, like maybe Bruno Sammartino would be in somebody's corner for a match before he hated Vince. Or around this time, because he came back as a wrestler, but he was too hurt. Superstar Billy Graham
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
was a babyface manager for Don Morocco.
Okay.
That's the only one I can think of roughly around that time. That was a little bit later, around like WrestleMania 4. This is around WrestleMania 2.
Okay.
And so, yeah, everybody, Mr. Fuji, Jimmy Hart, Lou Albano was also a babyface manager for a little bit after he turned. We did the Lauper episode, celebrity episode. We talked, or the Albano episode a while
Yeah.
back. Yeah, but around like WrestleMania 2, because he managed the Bulldogs. Yeah. So he was your babyface manager at this time. And even he wanted Randy Savage. He was like, he's so good. I want him too. So everybody wanted Randy Savage. Every manager wanted them.
If you don't get Elizabeth here, who would you want at this point in time for manager at Macho Man 97?
Well,
The best fit would probably be, even though your best manager was Bobby Heenan, the best fit is probably Jimmy Hart.
that's what I was thinking. Jimmy Hart at the time.
Wouldn't they been both
1984.
too over the top though? Wouldn't you've needed
Yeah, baby.
somebody?
I got the Macho Man right here, and he's coming down, and he's got to beat you.
Jimmy was great behind guys that, like you said, couldn't talk.
Yeah,
You know?
Blassie could have worked if it was like, I'm getting ready to retire, but this is the guy that's going to keep me going.
Yeah.
Like,
I got
could've done
the guy. Total curveball. Best manager for the situation.
was he there at the time?
Mr. Fuji.
Oh, Mr.
My
Fuji.
Randy Savage.
Yeah,
Well, the good thing is Mr. Fuji couldn't really do the talking.
Yeah.
So if you had heels that could talk, you put them with Fuji because they could.
That's why I said it would work.
No,
He doesn't have to talk.
speak Japanese.
I would have done an angle where Fuji speaks Japanese and Macho Man pretends he understands it and then talks just like his normal promo.
That'd be great.
That would have been.
And
I
then-
love when
funny.
people in wrestling speak two different languages and understand each other.
Yeah, and then every time he goes to throw salt, Macho Man somehow eats it.
Like Tajiri and William Regal.
Yeah, that's why I say like two total opposites. Like, and they're like that. That would be my pick if I don't get what we get here.
So yeah, the whole big thing is that Randy Savage is picking none of the established managers. He's bringing in his own manager, Miss Elizabeth,
Mhm.
who is very much the girl next door, is very much demure, and is
Huge
not
hair.
a heel.
Oh, the
Huge
It was
80s
80s.
hair.
I was just gonna say 80s.
But like she was the first, like, wow, she's actually good looking. Because like nothing against the women at the time, but they weren't.
You think
Looking
Sherry
like-
was good?
They
Well,
weren't
good
looking
looking.
like Liz.
Yeah, that was one of my questions I was going to
Yeah.
ask. What did you all think about Miss Elizabeth?
They
Because as a
weren't
little
looking like
girl,
Liz.
I
That's all I
was a
can
little
say.
girl. I loved Miss
Yeah,
Elizabeth.
Mula,
No.
she's not looking
Mula
like
was
Liz.
in her mid-50s.
Even Wendy
Yeah.
Richter, who was kind of
Rockin'
cute.
Robin?
Nah, she's no Liz. My God,
And she wasn't a
no.
manager. She was
Yeah.
a wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say Sherry would be the only
I would say a lot of the women in wrestling at
woman.
the time, not to be
Woman?
Woman was not in
she
WWF.
wasn't there yet.
No.
A lot of the
was
women
little later.
were homely looking. to
But
be-
And Sherry
woman
was
for-
also not Sherry was wrestling. She was not actually. Sherry wasn't there yet.
woman was still a manager on the scene, just not WWE.
Woman at this point was in Florida.
yeah, Florida's probably with Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah, Woman was never in W. The only time you ever saw Woman on WWF TV is when Chris Benoit celebrated after winning the title at WrestleMania 20. That's the only time
That
she was ever really
didn't
on TV.
happen.
Yeah, oh, yeah. When somebody that wasn't in the match at the main event of WrestleMania 20 won the match, then that unknown person.
Yeah, women celebrate with that.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Which is
With
hard
that
to watch
ghost.
now, obviously.
Yeah.
So Randy Savage comes in and he's managed by Elizabeth, and the whole thing is he's a complete asshole, and she is this nice, like, why is she with him? It's that whole thing, like
Beauty and the Beast too.
it taps into that thing that every
Kind
guy
of, yeah.
like, why is she with that guy?
Yeah.
It's the Joe Jackson song, Is She Really Going Out With Him? Is what their relationship is. And so Randy Savage comes in, and in pretty short order, he wins the Intercontinental title from Tito Santana. And he has, to the point, the longest reign. It was the longest reign until Honky Tonk Man, which wasn't that far after. And he has that feud with George Animal Steel because George is fascinated with Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
George is smitten. It's very similar. We were talking about this before. Was it on the air or off the air? We were talking about Maria Kanellis and Carl Anderson. I think it was off the air.
Yeah, off the air with
Yeah,
her. No, it was
no, it
when they
was-
were dancing. Yeah, it was early in the episode.
Yeah. So you had the thing where like George was it was puppy love. He had puppy love for Miss Elizabeth, and that led to a big feud with them. And then it segues in the Steamboat feud, and he had a little feud with Bruno Sammartino there, where he lost a lot of non-title matches.
Mhm.
But the fact that they're putting him with Bruno, and that was Bruno's last couple of matches in the WWF, like singles matches, that showed that they realized we have something here. And so WrestleMania 3, it's Savage and Steamboat. Savage, the setup to the match was Savage dropped a ring bell across Steamboat's throat and almost killed him.
And George Steele came out with Steamboat for that.
Yeah, he was in his corner. He actually, one of the things that because people think of that, oh, it's the greatest match because there were never really any good matches in WWF back then, and that was a really good match. And so many people look back to that Savage Steamboat WrestleMania 3 match as
Was it? I'm sorry to maybe I don't know if you just wouldn't know the answer fully. I'm sure you would, but at that point in time, it wasn't really common to really go over a match like Ricky and Savage did, though, where it was like every single part of the move was.
Yeah, Randy Savage had a reputation that not a lot of wrestlers have. He liked to script his matches out move for move. Like he didn't like, oh, this is the finish and we'll get there, like, or maybe just have a few things. He liked to have every single move, beginning to end script.
Steamboat said in the documentary I watched that he literally Savage would be on the bus or on a plane, or he would call him at night. He goes, "What's step 3 to 30?"
Yeah.
And if he didn't know, he would snap.
Yeah.
And then he would take his notebook away.
Yeah.
What's this to this? Like he would.
Yeah.
And
That's
this
crazy.
leading up to
Yeah.
this match just was like, yeah.
And
And I think he said there was one mess up in the match that no one really knows, but
yeah,
there's
but Savage probably did because he was a perfectionist.
and they went backstage and Savage goes, "It was all right." Like, like he was like, well, he was okay with it. Yeah.
Meanwhile, like fans that are into that stuff are like, that was the greatest match I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And so and it was an amazing match for that time in WWF.
Their goal was to steal the show.
And they did.
Mhm.
I mean, people remembered Hogan Andre too
I
because
was
it was
just going to
Hogan
say it was
Andre.
Hogan Andre.
But if you just judge him as wrestling matches, because Andre could barely move at that
Yeah.
point, like that was the better match. And so yeah, that's where he drops the Intercontinental title to Steamboat because bigger things are on the horizon for Randy Savage. A few months later, he's turning babyface.
Where's Ricky rank on your all-time greats?
As far as in ring, he's very high
Like
up
in
there.
ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
ring.
he could be top 10. I mean,
Yeah.
for that era, I mean, because the athleticism is such on a higher level now. Like
Punk said when he came back to WWE for that, or Punk and Jericho said when he came back to WWE for that short run, he said he was just as good at, because like I guess
Yeah.
when Steamboat came back, he did some house shows just to get
He was on
warmed up.
the 2 pay-per-views.
yeah,
Yeah.
he did the WrestleMania thing where Mickey Rourke was supposed to wrestle but backed out.
Yeah.
And it was like Steamboat, Snuka, and somebody else against Jericho.
Yeah, Piper.
Yeah, I think so. And the other two went out quick and it was just Jericho and Steamboat, and everyone was like,
But Jericho was like he was right up, he was on pace with all the young
Yeah.
guys.
and
Awesome.
It's funny because you were talking about CM Punk. I remember I think we were talking to, and I don't want to talk too far out of school here. I think we were talking to Matt Turner about this, where Punk brought this up in training, where Ricky Steamboat would watch video of boxers to see how they would actually react to being hit for real, to learn how to better sell punches. So he really got into it. And Steamboat, as far as like bell to bell, he is one of the better. He is the prototype of a great working babyface.
That's why I like now in professional wrestling more than ever is when you have like these MMA people that come in and they just like, have you ever experienced this? Like, or every pulled aside a person like if like a Matt Mikowski, if you were in the locker room, like, hey man, can you like just like spar with me, just to kind of feel what like a real boxer would be, to kind of maybe
I've
learn
never
those
seen that.
like learn those movements. Like I feel if I was a wrestler and I missed out on that boat to learn mixed martial arts or jiu-jitsu before a match, I'd be like, yo, can you show me just
It can't hurt, but like a lot of them guys, when you've been your whole life to throw a punch to connect and hit them as hard as you can, it's kind of hard to translate that to throw it to make it look really good but not hurt.
Yeah,
So
but I
there's a
mean, like,
little
there's
bit of
some guys when
disconnect
they're throwing like wrestling punches, they're
Well,
just throwing like a fucking savage
one
ape.
of, one of
And
the
then
things,
when someone's like, pop, 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 like, and they're trying to like, it looks, I don't know, I think that and the ground game in wrestling, when someone brings that in, I just love it.
one of the things I'm thinking of with that is there was a point where Bryan Danielson, I think it was before he was even in WWE, or it might have been early on in his run, he moved to Vegas. This is when Extreme Couture was big. He moved to Vegas for a few months just to train with them to learn how to grapple better for pro wrestling.
That doesn't hurt.
And that's why he's the best there is. He's the best in the world right now, with all due respect to Okada.
I think
and
he'll be
Kenny.
number 1 in the PWI next year.
Bryan Danielson is the
He
best
has
in
to
the world.
be top 5. Has to.
Yeah.
But Randy Savage, he was the guy that kind of brought quote unquote work rate to WWE. The first pay-per-view they did well before WrestleMania 3 was actually right after WrestleMania 2 was the Wrestling Classic. And he did one of the matches in the tournament. The final is him losing to Junkyard Dog by countout, but the semifinal is him and Dynamite Kid. And for a 10-minute match, that match is great. Obviously, like there's things, because the high spot of the match is a superplex off the top instead of off the second rope, and that's not a high spot anymore because we've gotten so far.
I seen it. I think when he was still in Kentucky and he was doing all like he did like axe hammer forearm, like a punch off the apron to the outside,
off the top to the outside.
Yeah,
and people were just like,
relax.
That was as crazy as it got.
That and when he would grab their head and run towards the rope and jump up over the rope and then give him like the jaw jacker on the rope, but like Macho Man would land on the outside and they'd be still in the ring. Wow, no one even does that now.
Yeah, stuff like that. And well, I mean, nobody really does it now, but athleticism wise, that stuff might seem like, okay, well, like look what Pat can do, or look what Dante Martin can do. For the 80s in WWF, where
nobody was doing
where you had
Superfly and that's about it.
Like a flying drop kick is like, what did I just see? Like the stuff Randy Savage did was off the charts. And so because of that, because he's so exciting, because he's so colorful, because he's so charismatic, they turn him babyface. And you have Elizabeth there, so you kind of have the built-in babyface thing.
Now, is this when they knew they're losing Hogan for a little bit?
It's a little before that. They kind of know, but they also want to have Hogan's understudy. And when they turned Randy Savage babyface for the first time, they also had his heel turn planned because he didn't stay babyface for long that first run.
It was his baby heel were on the same time Hogan was about to leave to make a movie and then come back from a movie.
And this is kind of starting in my opinion, and we've talked about this in I think the Sherry episode. This is the greatest piece of storytelling WWE's ever done. And so it starts with the babyface turn, and there's a match. I think it Savage, and it was something happened where Honky Tonk Man is about to hit
Honky Tonk and Akeem, right?
No, this is before Akeem.
No, it's Honky Tonk and One Man Gang. Then
there's something that's going to happen where actually this might have been after Savage turned babyface, but the big angle that sets up the Mega Powers Yeah, because I think it was like Savage and Bret Hart. It was. I think this is actually the anniversary of the match is coming up. So yeah, I forget the exact way they turned him babyface.
Yeah, because Bret Hart is managed by Jimmy Hart, who also manages Honky Tonk Man.
Mm-hmm. So what they wind up doing is they wind up doing a thing where it's going to be Bret Hart against I believe I think it's Savage and Bret Hart, but he's feuding with Honky Tonk Man, who's now the Intercontinental Champion. So what winds up happening is the Hart Foundation, Bret and the Anvil, are holding Savage's arm, so he's stuck. And
for like 5 minutes, Honky it's like this with the guitar.
Yeah, he's gonna break the guitar over Bret's head.
And like it's taking hold of him all the while.
Yeah,
So
and Elizabeth,
and he's like talking trash, winding up more. It's like, oh god.
And Elizabeth comes in like, no, don't do it. He's acting like, I'm gonna hit Elizabeth. And then here comes Hulk Hogan to save the day. And yeah, Savage is already a babyface here, and that's how you have the Mega Powers form.
And the best is she brings Hogan out and like he doesn't know what's happening. And Hogan's like not paying attention. And then she's like, oh look, and he's like,
I do remember that.
And he points and he like starts breathing.
Yeah.
It's like,
higher,
this is awesome. It's so stupid. Like, where am I going?
Fucking Hogan.
It was great.
Yeah, so that's where you get the Mega Powers formed, and then Hogan is about to head out because you do the evil twin referee, that no good Earl Hebner.
Is this the moment when he's celebrating with and then he puts
that's coming a little bit later.
Okay.
Almost.
Okay.
Lust in his eyes, yeah. There's lust in his eyes.
So now the babyface turn is very fresh here. And so you have the angle, but it's still the most watched match in the history of American wrestling, probably wrestling period. The Hogan-Andre match where Andre wins the title on the fast count. But it wasn't Dave Hebner. It was this evil man who got plastic surgery to look like Dave Hebner.
The $1 million man paid for it.
He still looks like Dave Hebner.
Yeah.
He goes by Earl Hebner now, but he's not really Dave Hebner's brother. He's the guy who got plastic surgery to look like Dave Hebner. And he still looks like him to this day.
That's how good the surgery was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw him up close, and he really looks like Dave Hebner.
Yeah.
He actually was like, guys, I'm really Dave.
No, he's not Dave. Him and Dave look a lot different now. Dave, Earl.
That's actually Earl.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Earl has.
No, I'm saying Earl's Dave and Dave's Earl.
Who knows? Who knows? Earl looks a lot like the guy who used to be called Earl Hebner that refereed in Crockett before that. who went by
Could you
the name
imagine
of
in real life though? Like they took two brothers and did that, and they're like, "You have to live my life now." It's kayfabe.
Well, for a while, because Dave went to the office. For a while, he was called Dave. No, not that.
Oh,
yeah.
He started working in corporate. He was like or backstage as an agent, and the referee they would have out there would still be called Dave Hebner, but it was Earl.
Yeah.
Like after Earl left Crockett, Dave stopped reffing, and Dave, when you say, "Oh, Dave Hebner's referee," it was probably Earl.
Yeah,
and then started calling him Earl.
That's like you have to live my life now.
Pretty much, but no, he kind of absorbed Dave. Dave got forgotten.
Yeah,
Dave would come out later, but he would be one of the guys in suits.
Dave was recasted by his brother Earl.
Pretty much, yes. That's exactly what happened because Dave stopped refereeing.
He was Fake Diesel before Fake Diesel.
Kind of.
Right?
Well, you didn't know though. See, Fake Diesel came out. Like, well, that's not Diesel.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, like,
he's the first. A little bit more easy.
He's the first person that they didn't change the character's name. We just made a different character.
Okay. Oh, and I did discover here why Randy Savage turned babyface.
Okay.
Because shortly after the Honky Tonk Man beat Steamboat for the Intercontinental title, he started calling himself the greatest Intercontinental champion of all time.
No, you're not. I'm the greatest. Yeah.
And then you started wrestling bad guys because then he's a babyface.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it winds up with that match because Andre wins the title because of this referee thing, and then he's like, "I'm selling the title to Ted DiBiase."
The WWF World Tag Team title.
Yes,
he calls it the World Tag.
He called it the Tag Team titles. Yeah. So Ted DiBiase bought the title, and he was the new champion. He actually defended the title once or twice on house shows until
is Andre the Giant on your Mount Rushmore?
No,
I don't know who put the Rock.
Taker.
Yeah.
Taker put Andre, Rock, Taker, Shawn Michaels.
This might be something I'm discussing on another podcast next week.
Yeah. Andre is a spectacle and an attraction.
He was a great attraction. Yeah.
But
I agree.
He's not even top
I agree
10
with Taker's
wrestlers.
list where it's Austin, Shawn, Rock, but instead of Andre, I'd put Taker.
I put Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Unless you're only doing WWF.
My Mount Rushmore. The last two spots are negotiable. I can't if I'm just looking at my lifetime as a wrestling fan, the top two spots are locked in and they're not moving. It's Hogan and Flair.
Yeah, that's what
That wouldn't.
Yeah.
They're locked in, and they're
100%.
How can you not? I know if put the person thing aside, he's Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
I never was a Hogan fan.
it doesn't matter if you were a fan.
Was Shawn on your Mount Rushmore?
Maybe.
Even though everyone says he's the greatest of all time.
I don't say.
I don't say
he's the greatest of all time.
A lot of the workers say he's one of the best.
A lot of people say that about Eddie Guerrero too, but I don't know if you put him on your Mount Rushmore. I mean, that's like overall successful. Like be Rock,
if you pull
Rock, Steve Austin, Hogan, Flair.
If you pull every wrestler greatest of all time, Shawn's finishing second.
2.
Rick. It's Ric Flair.
Yeah. I could live with that.
The greatest of all time is Ric Flair.
I mean, then you think like who's the most popular? Like it was Hogan, and that was Steve Austin. So like
Austin would probably be my third, and the fourth one it could be Shawn, it could be Brett. I like Brett more than Shawn, but that's a personal choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I appreciate what Shawn Michaels does, and I know how good he is.
I'm not a Brett fan, but I would never say he doesn't deserve to be in the greatest.
I was going to say I'd have to put Brett over Shawn any day.
I think we could discuss the Undertaker for the last spot.
Yeah,
because of the longevity,
yes.
the best working big man in that company,
and the person behind the curtains that kind of kept it together. So,
yeah, well, I mean that's what they would always say. That's what they would always say as far as the
locker room leader.
Yeah, I think Conrad said they were talking about like how Shawn Michaels would never want to drop the title, or he'd always throw this hissy fit or anything. Like,
oh, I could see that.
Like that's why he's 2, and that's why Rick's 1. Because Rick would lose to anybody.
Yeah.
Except like when he wanted.
Well, speaking getting back to our topic, speaking of willing to lose to anybody because he didn't care about wins and losses. It was more about having the best match of the night. Macho Man Randy Savage.
He would. I mean, yeah.
I mean, he lost a lot of big matches.
Yeah, but always to Hogan.
Yeah.
Hogan wasn't losing to anybody back then. I don't know how they got him to lose to Warrior, honestly. So because if you look at booking wise, Randy Savage probably should have won or at least got DQ'd at WrestleMania 5 and did a rematch.
Yeah.
Did Hogan ever get it back on Warrior?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
that is the only reason Warrior got hired by WWE.
Yeah, at the terrible Halloween Havoc.
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't get it back until another promotion.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Savage.
I didn't know if they did like a house show or anything or.
No. So the Hogan Andre DiBiase thing ends up with the WWF title being held up for WrestleMania 4. They're going to do a big one-night tournament. The rumor was that DiBiase was supposed to win, and Savage was supposed to get the IC title and then win the world title later. But then Honky Tonk Man didn't want to drop the IC title and he threatened to leave, so they kept it on Honky. But it winds up being
what did he have on people to be like?
He had the belt.
I just say no. I'm saying like. I demand to keep the title or I'm leaving. And been like, I'm not.
What did he have on him?
What kind of clout did he have? Yeah.
What I'm saying though is
friends with Hogan at the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say who was he?
Because you'd be like, you're the fucking Honky Tonk Man.
Exactly. You're not the fucking star attraction.
Yeah.
Like anyone could take that title.
His clout was a title. Like it was, I'm not going to drop the title. I'm just going to leave.
Yeah.
That was his clout.
Because back in the day,
leaving.
Yeah, just buy a new belt.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that all changed when Ric Flair left WCW.
Yeah.
And I mean, that blew up in their face.
That's like if Elias was just like, yo, I'm not dropping the title. They're like,
well, nowadays they don't give a shit about
see ya.
the title.
Yeah. See ya.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
When's the last time
I was just going to say.
People were surprised he wasn't cut.
Yeah, I can see that. Maybe
they did the vignettes and they just dropped it.
Maybe he's injured and maybe his injury is keeping him on the.
I don't know, because didn't they fire some people that were
They did,
injured?
Did they?
Speaking of Elias, though, if we were going to do a Randy Savage biopic,
yeah, he'd make a good
Elias would be my Randy Savage.
He has a good elbow too.
He's got the beard. He kind of got the face. He's got the elbow. Yeah. So 88 is Randy Savage's big moment. That tournament at WrestleMania 4 does end with Randy Savage against the $1 Million Man in the finals, and the $1 Million Man does not win the title because there's a ref bump. There's a lot of chicanery. DiBiase has Savage in $1 Million Dream, but here comes Hogan to save the day because he's Hogan. Chair to the back, flying elbow. Randy Savage is your champion. They run it back at the first SummerSlam with the Mega Powers, Hogan and Savage against the Mega Bucks, DiBiase and Andre.
The Mega Bucks. I love that.
Bucks. Where the big thing is that's when Elizabeth takes her skirt off and throws it at the Mega Bucks, and they're mesmerized. It is pre-Maria Kanellis.
Yeah.
They're mesmerized by Elizabeth's magic granny panties.
Yeah, they were into those granny panties.
Well, no, they were like bikini, not even bikini, but just like bottoms.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And
like
today,
cheerleader bottoms.
They were swimsuit bottoms from the 80s, which were probably French high cuts.
If a girl wore underwear that didn't show that show,
I've seen shorts shorter than this.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Girls be like, I'm not wearing those.
Any girl wrestler today probably wears shorts that are way shorter.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it was the 80s,
Yeah.
and like
and it was
we
like,
weren't.
whoa, and you didn't see her like this.
Yeah,
Right.
You're like
showing
She
this
was
much leg.
she was very much protected.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Jimmy, get your head out of your pants.
Except for that workout poster.
Oh yeah, that sold that was apparently sold a lot of copies. I'd like to get one.
Miss Elizabeth workout poster.
yeah,
Let's see if it's on
it's
eBay.
typical 80s.
Oh yeah, like
It's probably
beer pinup almost.
I'm sure you get a reproduction.
Yeah,
I'd be fine with a
reproduction.
So yeah, and then the rumor for that was that when Savage was a champion, and obviously this didn't come to fruition, that they were working behind the scenes very feverishly to have the main event of SummerSlam be Randy Savage defending against a freshly jumped Ric Flair.
Mm-hmm.
But Ric Flair decided he didn't want to leave.
Yeah, that would have been something else.
Because there was a lot of backstage turmoil at that point between Flair and Dusty. And when Crockett owned the company, he thought Crockett favored Dusty. Crockett thought Dusty was God's gift to wrestling. But when Turner bought the company, the guy Turner knew was Ric Flair.
Yeah.
So that's why those tables turned. And then Dusty was pretty much gone by the end of the 88. By the end of 88. So 88 comes around, and that SummerSlam show at the end when Savage puts Elizabeth up on her shoulder and she is wearing the swimsuit bottoms, Hogan puts his hand a little bit close to the bottom.
Yeah.
Brother, I'm studying her, brother.
And
I'm
you can
keeping her
immediately
steady.
see it because Hogan picks her up too. And then it's like, and then you see Macho Man look over and it's like, we don't know what's happening.
Wrestling doing something subtle.
Yeah.
Who would think? Subtle.
It doesn't have to
Was
be
that subtle,
complicated.
or was it actually something that happened that way? Like was it?
No, this was very intricately planned out.
You think?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where people thought they were legit hating each other and fighting.
No, that was later.
Yeah.
That
it
came
happened
later.
later.
It did happen.
But people thought that it started legit here, and it didn't.
So then at the Survivor Series, Hogan and Savage are the sole survivors for their team. And after they win, the first person Hogan goes to hug is Elizabeth.
And Macho Man looking again.
And then it's a little more pronounced here. It's a little more pronounced. And then at the Royal Rumble.
Doesn't he like kind of shove him a little bit here?
I think he takes Liz away.
Yeah, he takes Liz away. And then at the Royal Rumble, this is the first pay-per-view Royal Rumble, Hogan throws Savage out.
Yeah.
And now we're getting really tense. And so then they do the main event again. It's a big primetime special. And it's Hogan and Savage, the Mega Powers, against the Twin Towers, Boss Man and Hakeem. And Elizabeth didn't take a lot of bumps in her time. But they do a thing here where they throw Savage out and he hits into Elizabeth. And he hit her hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she goes down.
Oh, didn't Honky Tonk give her a hard bump one time where he shoved her real bad? Like he shoved her hard?
He may have,
Yeah.
Jake did, I think. Jake did actually later.
And what? Jake and Honky both did it.
So then we have
Honky. Sorry, I'm 8.
So then they have the thing where Hogan is chivalrous, so he helps Elizabeth to the back and
he carries her.
He carries her to the back, and then he's in the back in the little medical area, and he's going, "Count me down, brother.
Yeah,
count me down." And it's on live TV, so like he's asking for a countdown in their life. Edited out of subsequent era.
Hogan, real quick. Is Hogan the heel this entire run?
Yes, he had lust in his eyes. Yeah, Randy Savage was completely right.
That's what I'm saying. Like Hogan hit somebody with a chair and cost them the title. Then
but
started
it was a bad person he hit.
That's a heel move. He's cheating.
Well, that was,
and now he's trying to bang his friend's wife.
Jesse used to always say Hogan was the cheater,
the luster. He's
it's all right when Hogan does it, isn't it, McMahon?
Yeah.
I think we were on something. I think Hogan was a lizard people down in Mexico.
A reptilian.
I have government clearances.
His skin's so orange because he tans in thermite.
Yeah.
So
just goes right back. So
yeah, you gotta stop picking with. So Hogan was totally trying to get into
it. Fucking heel. He's the heel here. Macho Man is the babyface.
Well, he takes it too far.
Yeah.
Because then he pushes Elizabeth down when she's trying to break it up. And
listen, this guy's been grabbing your ass and fucking carrying you around and hugging you. Like, get off me, woman. I'm beating this dude's ass because he's crossing the line.
He takes it a little too far.
Yes.
He takes it a little too far. Eventually, Savage does become the heel. He may have had the ammo behind him on why he was doing it, but he didn't do the right thing. So the Mega Powers are about to explode, and Elizabeth's going to be in a neutral corner, and obviously it's Hogan. So
that's right there. Why are you shouldn't even be debating whose quarter you're in. You have my wife teeter-tottering. I have to kill you.
No, they're not married yet.
Yeah, in story they're not
married.
You
They're
got
not
my
married
girl
yet.
teeter-tottering. She's not, I don't give a fuck if I murdered somebody. She's in my corner.
You locked her in a closet, brother.
And she's halfway. She's
well,
half and half.
not if she's unsure.
I think her thing was
Manage.
You're unsure.
Well, she went to manage both people.
You're unsure. You're not with me. Get her out of here.
She wasn't with. She was.
I think what her thing when
Macho Man should have killed him. Should have ripped his throat out.
I think her exact thing she said when like Savage was like, "Why?" She's like, "Oh, you hurt me, Randy."
Yeah.
Like,
that's tough to come back from.
Yeah.
Once those words come out, you're like, oh, oh, maybe you're better with Hulkster.
Maybe I'm not the good guy.
You hurt me, Randy. Yeah, if that was on TV now, fucking Randy is canceled.
Well, you don't do this angle anymore.
You wouldn't do any of this on this day and age.
Yeah, a little different.
Yes.
So yeah, Hogan winds up being the champion, and Savage goes full heel, and he can't beat up Elizabeth, but Sherry can. So he has his new manager, Sensational Sherry. They wind up becoming the king and queen.
That's the way you handle the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you want to leave? I'm gonna find a crazier.
She never said she just was unsure because she was friendly.
You're
with
unsure.
Hogan too.
You're
Come on.
unsure. You're not with me. So I'm gonna go find a crazier broad.
If you're not in, you're out. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not in, you're out, and she's out.
And this girl's a little crazy.
A little crazy. And consult back to our old episode about Sherry, and you'll hear a lot of this next part because they wind up feuding with Dusty Rhodes and Dusty and Sapphire with Elizabeth in their corner to beat Savage and Sherry. And then Savage really wants a title match against the new champion, the Ultimate Warrior, and he doesn't get it, so he gets angry and he breaks his King Scepter over Warrior's head and lets Sergeant Slaughter win the title. So then we get into the single greatest piece of wrestling storytelling WWE has ever done, which is WrestleMania 7, the career-ending match. Randy Savage and the Ultimate Warrior. Loser has to retire from wrestling. And forever, not just 6 months.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, maybe.
So this is crazy that whoever loses this match we'll never see again.
Yeah, this is the end of the Randy Savage story here.
Yeah.
He also had a little interlude there with Zeus as a tag team partner.
Yes, I was gonna say
SummerSlam
that.
He
89,
had to carry every single one of those matches.
If this is the Macho Man movie, this is Freddie Mercury at Live Aid right here. He's on stage. He's
I don't get the reference.
Haven't seen
I don't
the match.
Freddie Mercury.
in the Queen movie, they make it seem like that's his last ever thing.
Like his very last, hurrah. He got back with Queen and was like,
he's on stage with Queen. He's dancing. Everyone loves it. He goes backstage and dies of AIDS.
Oh,
that's kind of what they
But no, there's a lot more.
Yeah, so the thing with Zeus was forgettable. Yeah, No Holds Barred, the match of the movie.
Yeah, but poor Macho Man, he had to do all that. It was basically Macho Man wrestling two people.
And one of them's Beefcake, so that's even worse.
Yeah.
That makes it even harder.
Beefcake Baba!
Oh God!
Even as a kid, every time I seen him, I'm like, get him off TV. No,
Zeus?
Beefcake Barbie.
We're talking about Zeus. They're on Brother Love one time, and they do Savage and Sherry do this whole promo, and then Zeus just goes, Hulk Hogan, Beefcake Baba.
At least he didn't say the N-word.
Well, if he says it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Booker T.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But no. So yeah, Zeus was awful. Although every time I saw him in a movie after, I just go,
yes. In Friday, Zeus.
Yes.
Zeus.
The Dark Knight, like, yes. So Savage and Warrior, and they show Elizabeth in the crowd too. Elizabeth is in the crowd to watch this match. She's only been on TV like once in the past almost 2 years.
Wow.
And it was the WrestleMania before this, helping Dusty beat Savage. So Savage loses the career match, as people probably know. And if you ever want to see a match, you ever want to see an example of what does it look like when a guy carries a guy in a match? Ultimate Warrior versus Randy Savage, WrestleMania 7. It's a master class. Randy Savage does 80% of the work in this match. Sherry does about 15%, and the Warrior does 5%.
So it's like Shawn versus Hogan.
Well, no, because Randy Savage didn't bump like crazy and make it a joke. It was if Shawn Michaels was a professional.
Yeah.
It would be like Shawn Michaels versus Hogan if Shawn Michaels was a professional.
Yeah. I think you handle it right. It's Hogan.
No, I didn't handle it right at all.
No. Randy Savage. Randy Savage is a master class in carrying somebody in this match. Sherry is a master class in the heel managing, physical heel managing, and the Ultimate Warrior is big.
Yeah, he was
there for aesthetics. That's about it.
And so he gets the win, and then Sherry's pissed because she just lost her client. So she's beating the shit out of Randy Savage, who just got the hell kicked out of him all match. And who's going to save them? Elizabeth comes in
with her blue and silver sweater
with
shining.
the
No, she had a
stars.
black with
Yeah,
white
black
stars.
and white. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Macho Man had blue and silver.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she throws Randy Savage down, or throws
And she comes
Sherry
out
down.
of she comes out of the crowd. I
Yeah,
can remember
hops
that.
the
It was like
rail.
one of the most, oh my gosh, she's
With
still
her
got
short
that
haircut,
Macho.
that wasn't
Yeah.
that good.
Yeah.
Her
No.
shorter haircut.
If it was the Ultimate Warrior, they would have said the original Elizabeth died.
Yeah, in a motorcycle accident.
Or AIDS. I heard the original Warrior died of AIDS, and then Kerry Von Erich took over. Or Kerry Von Erich was the original Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
So dumb. so Elizabeth throws Sherry out of the ring, saves Randy Savage, and you have the emotional reunion. People in the crowd are crying. They still show the guy in the shower
She
cap.
still does love him, Bobby.
She loves
the Macho Man. But it is really a great.
I want to be
It
at a
was
moment.
great storytelling.
It was.
I want to be at a moment at a show and something happens between like a girl and a guy hug, and she still loves
She
him.
still loves him. Even they're never together.
Oh my god! If they let me commentate at Backbreakers when you guys ever get back together,
She still loves him.
and he still loves them. They're together, blue and gold, baby. They still love each other. Backbreakers, if you're listening, I'll just do one match, and then that's all I want.
And he's like, Matt, we're going to come back together, but I can't do it now.
Yeah.
He was going to do this, and I can't have
Andy
it.
hears me.
can't do that.
Andy hears me from the crowd and just like, sorry, Matt.
Yeah.
He just like kryptonite crushes him
And leave.
Just walk out the ring.
Yeah.
Matt's like, Pete, come over here and say hi to me. Because when you kryptonite crunch him, he had Pete
Oh,
went
yeah,
over
yeah.
like to check on him. And Pete's like, I'll be back, Tony. I thought he loved him. And just like, fuck.
I did, and you ruined it.
Yeah.
That's good booking right there.
You have this cheerful reunion, but Savage is retired. The thing here is they were talking about maybe having kids at this point.
Wasn't he injured during one of his title
No,
runs, or he had something wrong with him, or he couldn't work?
Not this one.
No.
He sold the knee injury in the second one, but I think it was more selling it. With this one, he's not the champion, but I think he stepped out because he wanted to. The talk was he wanted to have kids. He kind of got off the gas a little bit. And so he was a commentator until the summer when Randy and Elizabeth are getting married and they have the big wedding at SummerSlam 91. And then in the wedding reception, they open up a gift. And there's a cobra.
Snake.
And at this, the documentary said too, at this point in time when they're having the wedding on TV, they're getting divorced.
Yeah,
in real life.
I was just gonna say that
And-
like right when this wedding was going down, they were really divorcing in real life.
That's a very Vince thing to do.
Can
Yeah.
you imagine that? Having to work like that?
Yeah.
With
Okay.
somebody that you're not getting along with.
I think they also said too that maybe Randy thought if they did the marriage on TV and it would be like one of those things where like she sees everyone thinks we belong together. Maybe
It's possible.
Yeah,
And-
trying to
and-
rekindle
and
it,
it
but
never happened,
It
and,
just
like,
kind of blew up.
broke his heart.
Yeah. That's very possible.
Yeah.
But so Jake Roberts and the Undertaker attack, and then this winds up with getting Randy Savage reinstated to the WWF, and he's back, and they do this Tuesday in Texas where he beats Jake, and then he beats him on Saturday night's main event. And that kind of that's the end of the feud there, because then Jake goes to the back and Savage and Elizabeth are celebrating, and Jake's in the back behind the curtain with a chair, like, I don't care who comes through next, but I'm going to get him. And he has a chair and he's going to hit him, and they keep showing them coming to the back. And it's Elizabeth. Like, he's going to hit Elizabeth when they come through. And he rears back, and then a big gray gloved hand stops that chair. And that's the Undertaker's babyface turn. He stopped Jake the Snake from hitting Elizabeth with a chair because he's a demon with a heart of gold
Mm-hmm.
at this point.
There it is.
And so that spins Savage off into kind of nothing at that point, it seems. He's in the Royal Rumble, and he's still going after Jake, even though this has already happened. Or no, the Royal Rumble's before that.
Is that when he eliminates himself?
Yeah, even though they said he couldn't, but he did to go after Jake. That was before the Saturday night's main event.
And then
because
was it the
Undertaker's still a
following
heel.
Rumble where he tries to pin Yokozuna and gets thrown off and eliminated?
Yes, it was.
There,
He never got the Royal Rumble. One time he didn't even come out. It was like he hit the Warrior. Like his turn just got missed because I guess he ran away because he was scared of the Warrior.
Yeah.
He didn't have the best luck in Rumble.
Yeah, Savage was never a bat 1,000 on a
Never
Rumble.
got it down.
Yeah.
Never got it down, Pat.
Well, notch in his book of greatest all time.
He did win the first World War III though in WCW.
Yeah, that's true.
That was a 60-man battle royal with, three rings, and he won because Hulk Hogan got pulled out.
He got pulled under the rope, and that was the thing then. Yeah,
and he was like, "I have the tape to prove it on Nitro." And then when they had the tape where he got pulled out, it got all scrambly. And I'm like, well, we don't know what happened. That's the only tape. That's the only tape of this that could possibly ever exist.
And the referee had something in his eye.
Yeah. And Savage said, what it is what it is.
Yeah.
boy.
But before that, Randy Savage lines up, and even though he doesn't win the Royal Rumble, Ric Flair wins. He's a champion. They do this big press conference that Hulk Hogan's going to be the challenger, but Sid Justice turns on Hulk Hogan, so he gives up his title shot to go against Sid instead of getting the title shot against Flair. Really, he's going away for a little while because there's a steroid scandal happening.
Mm-hmm.
So Savage gets the opportunity, but Ric Flair has a bombshell that Elizabeth was his before he was Randy Savage.
Yeah.
She was Randy Savage's. And they have these pictures of like Ric Flair and Elizabeth like sitting around and like
promos with Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect talking
All right.
about how he's the bang list.
So story mode wise, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna break this down like adults because WWE is just kind of doing between the lines. You're with a girl, right? And me and you are with each other, and Andy is just like fucking king ding-a-ling. Like, I know all of his sexual exploits. He's told me every nasty thing he's ever done with a woman. He's done the most vile things. And then he says, and by the way, your new girl, Kelly, I used to hang out with her.
She was on Space Mountain.
Now my mind races to every filthy thing Andy has ever done to a woman that he's bragged about. That's what's happening right now, Ric Flair and Macho Man Randy Savage.
And he has pictures to prove it.
Yeah.
Where they, it's pictures, but they caught him in a lie because they said it was this thing called side texting, where they just took, it was primitive Photoshop.
Superimposed.
They superimposed Ric Flair's head on Randy Savage's body because there were like pillows like R and L. It's like, it's not Rick and Liz, it's Randy and Liz. And there was this thing where there's videotapes. It's like, that videotape was after they were together, so it couldn't have been Rick and Liz.
Yeah.
It was Ric Flair was lying.
And Kelly's telling me it's never happened, and I don't believe her because you're a cocksman.
Well, no, he believed her. He believed Elizabeth, but
he didn't really believe.
He
back of his head, he was like,
and then never paid this
his
off.
mind raced. Like
he was the world champion, baby. So you couldn't blame her if she did.
And she's up there brushing her teeth. And she's like, "What are you thinking of him? Are you thinking of him?"
And, I mean, a Space Mountain. It's the oldest ride in the park, but it still has the longest line.
Baby.
Still has the longest line.
Longest line.
I peed.
Not the best ride in the park, though. I'll tell you that.
No.
No. If I'm really talking about Space Mountain,
but it's the most satisfying.
It's in the dark. I don't know. That's all I know about it.
Why is there a helicopter on Space Mountain?
It's a wild mouse in the dark. If we're really talking about, if we're not talking about anything else,
we are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The baby's arm comes out in the dark.
So the other thing they teased before this match was that they were gonna have pictures of Elizabeth. They were gonna put up on the jumbotron, and she's wearing nothing but a staple. They said. And I guess they did have some like racy pictures they had shot, but like Randy was like, "Yeah, we're not gonna do
he wasn't gonna let that happen.
Doesn't work for me.
Can you use some of that cyber tech to get her clothes off?
Can you airbrush some clothes on?
Yeah.
Oop, that's not my drink. That's a candle.
Don't drink the candle.
You can drink that if you
Dear
want.
Lord, let's take that away from you.
I just reached.
Take the other one away from him too.
No, we're good. That's not my problem.
So Randy Savage ends up winning the title there. He loses it to Flair that summer, and that's kind of him scaling back his in-ring. He did have the feud with Crush.
Yeah, the pinfall's kind of anywhere match.
Did we miss the snake bite incident?
We talked about it very briefly. No, not the bite. Yeah. We talked about the attack.
Because that would have been right around.
After the reception.
It was after that. Yeah, Jake attacks Randy Savage.
Calls him out tied up. Yeah, and he was commentating, and he comes He
comes from commentary to the ring.
Jake's talking smack, and he comes down, and somehow he ties him into the ropes.
Yeah,
I think remember
he hits him with the DDT. Ties him up on the ropes. Brings out his cobra
like a baby.
Yeah, and the snake bit Randy Savage. Like, well, how do you fake that? No, he really bit him.
Yeah,
he had a snake bite him in the arm.
If you're into podcast, after this, go look, search Joe Rogan's podcast with Jake the Snake Roberts. It's very, very good. Even, I mean, if you're not a Rogan fan, the conversation and the stories Jake tells are very, very fascinating.
If you're a Jake fan,
if you're a Jake fan.
Is this after Jake kind of got cleaned up and stuff again? Okay.
Yep. And he.
Oh yeah, the podcast. Yeah.
At this point during this part,
no, during this podcast,
that's what I'm asking.
During the angle
I'm not
Jake
listening
was
to.
Yeah. No, Jake was good here.
Jake tells a lot more in depth about what actually happened that night.
About Randy wanting the snake to bite Jake first and everything like that.
And the snake ended up actually killing itself because it was like he had to literally traumatize a snake to bite him and then take him back out to the ring in front of a bunch of people. And then the snake obviously didn't want to, because a snake doesn't bite on command. It bites to defend itself, and it doesn't feel like if it's threatened, it's not going to bite. So Randy, like, he's just like, fuck. So he like turns and he smacks the fuck out of the snake twice, and then sticks it on Randy's arm, and it's not biting him. So he's like, I paintbrush it again.
Get it mad, yeah.
And then he stuck it on Randy's arm, and even the snake, when it's biting, it's just like, you could just tell it's not biting to be angry. It was stressed.
Animals back then in the WWF did not have great lives.
Yeah, Jake said
did not have a good life. The Damians did not have a good life.
Yeah,
Frankie may have. Coco seemed to take care of his bird.
Yeah, because he liked that bird. I think that actually was his.
Yeah. Jake said he went through a ton of snakes. Ton. He said every other show.
Plus, it was hard to transport.
He kept it in like the back of his trunk or something. I heard.
He had it in a trunk,
like,
and then he would get to the hotel room and just throw it in the tub.
Yeah.
He put it, and then
I get real drunk and I go to take a piss, and there's a big fucking snake.
Yeah, and he didn't like snakes himself.
No, he hated snakes. Yeah,
but he didn't always have a cobra either. He had like a boa, and
most of them were pythons.
Usually they were pythons. Like
he did the cobra because the visual of a defang, like people didn't really know, like you could defang a snake or depoison a snake, devenomize a snake.
I think he had a cobra once in WCW.
It was a match with Sting, the coal miner's glove, and the snake bit Jake at the end, and it wouldn't bite, so he just kind of held it up to his belly, like, bite me.
Yeah.
Which is better. I'd rather do that than have him actually bite.
Yes.
That's why when he came back to AEW, and I don't like snakes at all, but I'm just like, please don't fucking chuck snakes around.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want that.
Oh yeah, he chucks the snake at Brandy, or he puts the brand.
Yeah, but he was kind of cool with it. He laid it on her, and I was just like, I didn't want Jake to like revert, and he just like fucking And then they did the angle where he threw the bag, but there was a snake in it, but there wasn't, obviously.
Yeah.
So then after the crushing, that was kind of Savage's last hurrah as a wrestler. He did commentary for a while, and then
he was fantastic on commentary.
Commentator on Monday Night Raw.
He was the debut Monday Night Raw commentator.
Vince, Randy Savage, and Rob Bartlett were the original team. So then he does wind up in WCW in '94.
And he wanted to come. He wanted to wrestle. And the main reason
that's why he left WWF. He wanted to wrestle, and they just saw him as an announcer.
He wanted to wrestle.
Vince didn't think he would be a good wrestler. I guess.
Oh, he was still really good. Yeah,
good performer at his age at that time.
He
was ready to let him go.
He pitched to Vince that he wanted one more match. He wanted to retire, and he would have went right back to commentator. And he wanted that retirement match to be Shawn Michaels.
He wanted to do a program with Michaels, not just one match. He wanted to do a program.
Yeah, he wanted to do a program with Michaels and then retire.
Yeah, and Vince just wasn't having it.
And Savage still had a lot in the tank too. He wasn't washed up when he first got to WCW,
which is a shame because we never got a Shawn Michaels Macho Man match like that, like a program.
Yeah, I think they might have had a match or two, but he never had that long program.
Or he had a match with Shawn, but it wasn't the Shawn we know now.
Yeah, it might have been like the Rockers or something like that. Yeah. But the WCW run, he started with Hogan. It was kind of like the Mega Powers Redux. He was feuding with like Avalanche, which was Earthquake. And then he winds up having this really good feud with Ric Flair in '95 and then '96. Elizabeth comes back, and Elizabeth actually, after a while, turns heel. She joins Ric Flair. And Ric Flair, it's great because now it's all those things he could have done back then. He's like, just like making fun, like, oh, we're having this big dinner on Randy's credit card, and we're doing all this stuff.
Macho Man's money.
Yeah.
At this point, they're still not together. Just
they're long divorced.
Yeah, they're long divorced. Yeah.
And Savage is a little more at peace with it now too. And because later on, like when he's I guess there was obviously there's kind of bond there because they were together for so long. But yeah, he's more at peace with it now than he was in WWF.
Was she ever with Lex while they were in the business together?
Yeah,
was they were?
She turned down WCW.
Lex, in a couple years.
Okay,
this is like '95, so that's
this
was with Lex in like '99.
Yeah, when she first came back, I think she was remarried to like a lawyer in Florida or something like that. Like not somebody in the business. But at this point, I don't know. Because at one point, like Lex is with Elizabeth, and Savage has Gorgeous George, so he's in another relationship too. But yeah, they had that.
She added us on Facebook.
Yeah. It's very nice.
Yeah.
George Frankenstein.
Yeah.
So after the Flair thing, the NWO thing kind of kicks into gear. At first, Savage is the main opponent of the NWO, and then he joins them very shortly after. He did have a few runs. He was the guy that beat Sting for the title after Sting had the big win over Hogan at Starrcade. He had a heel run later, but it was never really the same. He had a great feud with DDP while he was in the NWO.
Yeah.
DDP was another guy that liked to script out his matches completely.
Yeah, so they got along.
They got along really well.
Well, I think I want to take the diamond cutter tonight.
And DDP was like,
yeah.
I'm marking out.
Yeah.
I will say this, as someone who refused to watch WCW, I wouldn't watch it. I didn't want anything to do with it. I feel like they all betrayed me. They left me. I'm like some of these WWE, AEW fans
It's
right
funny
now.
you say that because like my dad was the same way. His product still was WWE.
Yeah.
Like me, I kind of liked.
I was a channel flipper.
Yeah, I would not channel flip. I stayed on Raw or whatever it was at the time, like Raw and SmackDown. I don't even think SmackDown was a thing yet.
And at the time, my dad worked third shift, so he would sit up and watch a little bit with me. I think that's how it was. And then whatever we watched together, it had to be WWE. And then the rest of it, when he went to work, was always taped in the other room. But and I would flip back and forth.
But the one guy who almost made me convert and watch WCW was DDP. I love DDP. When they were doing the rave, like the Macho Man thing, I loved it. I was like, oh man, I want to see what's happening here. And I loved when they did the rave. Like I actually seen it on, it was like a talk show, and like I was like home from school, or I was at the doctor's office, the nurse's office, and it was like a morning TV show, like maybe Regis and Philman, and it was like DDP, and then the Ravens flock came out and beat him up on like a morning talk show, and I was like, this Raven guy, at the time it's the grunge era, and I'm like, this I thought that was the coolest look ever, and I was like, I want to see this Raven guy, and he's always team, and then I got the video game, and then I seen the Ravens flock. I'm like,
I wish I knew more of them. I would have won a trivia contest at Pilgrim.
I actually
Raven
have
was on the cover of Revenge.
Yeah, I actually have a hookup for stop signs, like actual stop signs. Like someone like at their job, they have a bunch of stop signs they couldn't use.
We can buy those on the internet.
And he hasn't give me a bunch of them.
I used to know people
this
who
wouldn't matter,
them,
but
so.
New Jack is dead.
Yeah, but I mean, I would get DDP or Raven if I ever met Raven to sign a stop sign. Like I don't know, I just. Like I always
see, I don't think of DDP when I think of a stop sign in wrestling. There was a thing in ECW when Raven and Dreamer were having their feud.
Use my sign.
It was a sign that the one sign guy, not sign guy Dudley, but the real sign guy. He had the thing Tommy Dreamer. It was like, Tommy, use my sign, and he takes the sign and he hits Raven over the head with it, and Raven goes down. And he rips up the sign, and there's a stop sign under it. It was a great angle. It was so good.
Yeah, I always think of the stop sign because that was like the weapon I always wanted to pull out of the crowd. And was a stop sign. So he'd sign it, and I'm like, this is more for me than you. Yeah.
So that was the other thing I was thinking of too was when they had Kimberly Page, DDP's wife at the time, did Playboy. It was like Playboy's nude celebrities, and Savage brought the magazine out, and he opened it up, and it's like, it just had NWO over the things you can't show on TV.
That was pretty good.
And Savage was the catalyst for the Hogan turn too. When in the beginning,
he was the guy that
took the leg drop.
Yeah, the match was supposed to be Savage,
94,
Sting, and Luger against Hall, Nash, and a mystery partner. It's funny. I saw the VHS thing for that, and it says like it's like it has a card on the back of the VHS tape for that show, and it's like Sting, Randy Savage, Lex Luger against Hall, Nash, and a mystery opponent. It's like. And a special appearance by Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
very special.
There it is. But yeah, I started to go backwards there, but I just wanted to point out that Randy was also a crucial in the storyline to the NWO first turn, and then and eventually joined.
Because the big rumor was before that was Luger was going to be the guy. Well, that was the initial rumor, and then it was like, oh, they're going to try to get Bret Hart. But they had locked in on Hogan, and I think Sting was the backup. They were going to have Sting actually turn. If Hogan got cold feet, Sting was the backup. But it was like Savage was kind of by himself against Nash and Hall. So here comes Hogan to make the save.
It's once again Hogan being a fucking heel to Macho Man Randy Savage.
Well,
that's the second time in his career.
Well, this is literally being
that was Savage's entire career.
Listen, he's Macho Man's heel, even when he's touching his girl's butt and everything. You said he crossed the line. He didn't cross it far enough because then he got leg dropped and the NWO was born. He should have killed him when he had the chance.
You really don't like Hulk Hogan, do you?
Wow. It would have saved so many problems for everybody.
Listen, dude.
I wouldn't have had my Hulk Hogan buddy though when I was little.
And then we would have never had an old man dropping N-bombs to his daughter.
He's the only old white guy that said that word.
Come on.
And wrestling would never be as big as it was.
Yes.
Eventually we would have Stone Cold.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. You don't know.
I'm joking.
You don't know that butterfly effect.
Oh,
he should have beat him up.
Stone Cold Steve Austin has a brilliantly flowery track record.
He's never had a domestic violence.
Yeah, he never did anything to his wife.
I mean, we're skipping over the topic here with Macho Man and Liz. I mean, there was lots of rumors backstage that not that he hit her or anything.
Dark side of the ring about it.
It never happened. My brother never hit. We locked her in a room.
Steve Austin.
Hogan often said that he would. Like he would lock her away so she wouldn't be able to talk to anybody. And maybe that's not physical, but that sucks.
I can tell you somebody he did hit, Torrie Wilson. There was that.
I actually seen that on the internet the other day.
Yeah, and like he's going back to yell at Gorgeous George and Torrie Wilson, and Torrie Wilson's laughing. He just slaps her.
You paintbrushed her a little bit. You're ruining my angle.
Yeah, she was corpsing.
Yeah.
It's immortalized in Botchamania. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, another thing, too, with the whole Macho Man and Hogan real life feud, and this is speculation, not speculation. I know Savage kind of came out.
I thought we were going to talk about that other speculation real quick.
Yeah, we'll get into that then. You can do that one next. But it wasn't very unknown secret, or because a lot of people have came out and said it, that Hogan and his wife possibly had an open relationship, or they would bring people into the relationship. To each their own. This is not a judgment thing.
No.
But knowing that was a situation where they were open to bring people in and doing all this stuff, when Elizabeth and Macho Man were fighting, she would run to hang out with Hogan's wife, and Hogan always kind of had to think, well, because I know they do that and my girl's there, they're going to do it to her too. So that was like kind of a big thing where he's like,
his mind would run wild.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like anyone would,
Yeah. So that was any other speculation.
This would have been after Hogan.
Or do you want to wait till later in his career Hall of Fame? Because
I think we're kind of wrapping up, aren't we?
Yeah.
I mean, he was in TNA for a hot minute.
And then you saw Jimmy Hart backstage, and Hogan's involved. I'm out.
Yeah.
And but one of the big things later on, because he did basically after WCW, besides like 1 or 2 TNA appearances, he was done. He had the Spider-Man cameo we brought up. He did the rap album we brought up.
Yeah.
He was a Slim Jim spokesman.
Yes, that was one of the biggest
part of his career. Yeah. Like when he died, that the whole thing was like snap into a Slim Jim. Like everybody remembered him for that. He's probably more than anything is the Slim Jim stuff.
I think that's what put him in. Like Nikolai knows nothing about professional wrestling. The only thing he knows is the Slim Jim guy.
Yeah,
he knows the Slim Jim guy more than he knows who. I mean, he probably knows who Hulk Hogan. I would say like he would know the actors who are on TV now. Like he knows Hogan, he knows The Rock, he knows John Cena, Batista. But when he thinks wrestling, the first thing that Nikolai's brain goes to is the Slim Jim guy.
A lot of people think Hogan Macho Man.
Yeah. And he drew a lot of money with Hogan. He was one of Hogan's best drawing opponents. But with all the success, the whole thing was always like, why wasn't he in the WWE Hall of Fame? Why did they never bring him back? They brought Hogan back, and Hogan had a big acrimonious thing with Vince. Brock Lesnar came back. Sable sued Vince. All these people had sued Vince. Jesse Ventura. All these people had awful bet. Bruno Sammartino.
Who was estranged for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Warrior.
Superstar Billy Graham, the Warrior. Everybody came back pretty much except Randy Savage. And everybody's like, why? People thought it was that Vince felt very close to him. He felt like exceptionally betrayed that that Savage left. And then you hear these things like, we're bringing up candidates for the Hall of Fame, and people are telling the writers, don't bring up Randy Savage. Just don't say it. Don't say his name around Vince. Why? I remember listening to this interview about a guy who worked for WWF magazine or WWE magazine in like around 2003, 2004, and they would put pictures of old wrestlers up, and the one time they put up a picture of Randy Savage, and they said Shane McMahon goes over this picture and he just starts poking it, like not ripping it, just poking and poking and poking it until just poking makes the picture go down. It's like, that's why.
And that's a legit story,
according to this guy who wrote for the magazine. Yeah. So the rumor, and this is 100% rumor, there's no proof about this whatsoever.
There's not even a hint of
it is
speculate.
It started on a Reddit forum too, didn't it? It was
pre-Reddit. I think people said in like shoot interviews. There used to be a message board called Death Valley Driver Video Review, and they had a sleaze thread with all these rumors, and a lot of them you can tell they're not true. But there was always this rumor that the reason that Randy Savage left is because he had an affair with a very young Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah, like when she was 14 or 15.
Yeah.
That's what it would have lined up to.
An affair? That's what we're going to go with?
The
terminology?
No, you're right. Let's put it. He statutorily raped a very young Stephanie McMahon. Let's put it the way it should be put.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's an affair. Or he groomed a very if that's the case, that would be the terminology we'd use there. But no wrestler ever came out and said, this is what I think happened. Like it was just a thread that somebody anonymously put up.
The thing is, nobody's ever really denied it.
Yeah.
And like it'd be like no, that never happened. But the rumor has gained a life. Is it true? Who knows? Like
because
Savage is dead and Stephanie's not talking. We're never gonna know.
Yeah, and Vince and Shane obviously were very like it would bring a bad taste in their mouth when he would be brought up, and
that just threw gas on the fire.
Yeah.
And the fact that nobody ever came out and said no, it's ridiculous. And she might have been a little older, not that it might have been like 16, 17.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think she was 14 or 15. I think she was like 17.
She was graduating college by like 99.
Yeah, she was almost probably 8.
If it was 90, but I thought wouldn't it be a little.
I think would have been around 94 when he.
Yeah, I watched a video on this
yeah.
a long time ago about this whole rumor. There is a video on YouTube debunking the Stephanie McMahon Macho Man.
Yeah. In 94, she would have been like 17, 18.
Okay.
Still not great. Still not a great look for a guy.
My only thing that I would say that would maybe defend, and this is just my speculation, this is the way I would think, this is the way I would handle things if I was a parent or if I was a dad or if I anything like that. If I thought that one of my top stars had in a relationship with my underage daughter or of age daughter, depending on what time it happened, I think the last thing I would do is put her on TV and over sexualize her.
It's Vince though.
Yeah.
Vince is crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vince.
I think
Vince wanted to do an angle where she got pregnant and he was the father.
Yeah, I guess I'm putting too much credit into Vince.
Yeah,
McMahon.
it's Vince. Yeah, you're putting way too much credit into Vince.
My bad, guys. Where's that golden egg?
It got released. Got future endeavored.
They're saving $100 million.
Budget cuts.
My poor dad was like, he called me after on Tuesday, or when I seen him on Tuesday. He was like, Vince had some sort of golden egg thing. I'm like, there's a movie. I'm gonna show it to you next on Wednesday. Yeah, on Wednesday I'm gonna show you the movie. Dad. It's like I don't get this $1 billion egg he's talking about.
Yeah, crazy.
The things they'll do for movie production money. Yeah.
Crazy.
You got the egg. You got the egg for Survivor Series. You didn't get the Rock though, but you got the egg.
They should have had a little gobbledygooker come out of the egg.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
Like a baby Groot, like a CGI gobbledygooker. Is WB selling a fucking replica egg? Is that a thing yet?
Probably not.
No.
Did you ever find the Elizabeth poster or not?
No, it's not on eBay. I tried.
It was also I had the trading cards. They had the same picture from the poster on the trading cards.
Yeah.
I'm on a trading card.
With the blue frames. That's a cool series.
I'm on a trading card now.
Yeah. Are they actually made?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they would be made.
They're going to be at the show.
I guess they'll be there. That's next Saturday.
Pretty cool. And then I seen other people have cards. I'm like, no, it's not that special. No,
well, there's like 24.
Yeah.
Like
take that, Paul.
Yeah. I'm joking. Kind of. Yeah. So Macho Man, Randy Savage, Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, one of the greatest that ever did it. He would be in the discussion of my Mount Rushmore. If I'm just doing Mount Rushmore, like my favorite wrestlers, I've always said he's my favorite. Like Danielson is creeping up there, so it's
no,
like
what is it that he possesses or has that he checks your box for the greatest of all time?
He was the first. He was my first favorite wrestler, so that sticks with you.
But I'm saying, like, if we had like 5-star like promo, he's like 4.5.
He was good at everything.
Yeah, he was well rounded.
There was nothing he was bad at.
Yeah,
especially in his prime, he could do everything. It could be a baby face, could be a heel, he could talk, he could work.
He carried a company on his back that people thought couldn't have been carried when Hogan wasn't there.
He was larger than life. He had it all. He was in baseball, because he was a baseball. They would call him a 5-tool player.
Yeah,
he can hit, he can run, he can field, he can do it all.
Actually, in baseball too, one of the things his brother said that kind of attributes that is he hurt himself one season, or he did something one season where he got challenged, or he one hole for an entire offseason. He learned how to bat and throw the other with the other. He made himself ambidextrous just to stand out.
Well, that's one of the things they say that with the wrist training. Like he actually brought that in because he would take his baseball bat and bang it off of a tire too, and that would strengthen his wrist to hit harder and hit farther.
So that's just something in the mindset of Macho Man Randy Savage, where if he wants to get good at something, he taught himself how to do everything with his left side of his body when he was a righty. So that's the mind state, and that's the mentality of his work ethic and what he has to do. I mean, totally. I think at the end of the day, even though as a wrestler, performer, entertainer, that he was, like you said, above and beyond everything. But
especially in that era where, like, I mean, you had got like a lot of your great workers, like Brett Michaels, like bell to bell, they're better than Randy Savage.
Yeah, Mr. Perfect.
But besides Mr. Perfect, a lot of those guys are like lower card guys.
Yeah.
Randy Savage was a guy that was that good, but he would wrestle in the main event.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He would do the small things that made him stand out. Like he did the work of the character. He studied. He taught himself how to talk differently. Like that's stuff that people aren't willing to go that extra mile.
Right.
You know? And he's done it his whole career, even before he was a professional wrestler. He's a GOAT, man. He's good. He's good at what he did. Before we cut out of here, we'll kind of go round table. Favorite Savage moment that always will stick in your mind, even if we already talked about it, and then favorite Savage match. If you need, I'll go
because it's the same one. It's WrestleMania 7, Savage Ultimate Warrior.
That's your favorite match.
It's one of my favorite matches ever.
Really? Even though he carried it?
Because of the story it told. Like, there's better matches, bell-to-bell ring work. Like, there's way better matches. But it's the culmination of...
If you're gonna sit a kid down who likes wrestling, and he says, BP, I want you to show me your favorite match. That's the one you put on?
I don't know if it's my favorite match
Our
ever.
favorite Macho Man match. Because he's like,
just because it's good, especially if you're kind of new to it, it tells such a story. Like, bell-to-bell, there's fancier ring work and stuff, but that's the one for me.
Yeah.
Even though it's got the Warrior in it. Like, it's like, ugh. But it's the Ultimate Warrior's best match. It is, I don't know if it's Randy Savage's best match, but it's up there. It's up there for me just for the story. I mean, the matches with DDP were really good. His best matches are probably with Flair. As far as his bell-to-bell. Like, the one at WrestleMania 8's good. He had matches really good in WCW with Flair. He probably had barn burners with Lawler that we'll never see.
Yeah.
Because none of that was videotaped, which is crazy to think about.
Or they taped over it. Yeah.
Or if it was just on live TV and that was it.
You know who another guy I heard in a podcast that like his matches are fantastic, but there's zero proof that he ever like besides just people saying he wrestled because it's never on tape, was Bobby Heenan.
Yeah.
Before he was a manager, they said he was a good wrestler.
Mm-hmm. He was a great bumper. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Favorite moment.
The Warrior. It's the
same
whole
thing.
Yeah. It's the aftermath of that.
Yeah.
Like, that is just wrestling storytelling perfectly done.
Yeah, the Mega Powers Explode is so good. I remember when the DVDs came out, I watched it again. Like, this is so good.
Yeah.
Like,
favorite match?
Great. I don't know. Him versus Hogan, probably. I don't know.
WrestleMania 5.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Probably that.
And the moments of Mega Powers.
Yeah, the Mega Powers exploding.
Yeah. I love when they were.
And that first time when they come together, but that's the handshake. Everyone loves the handshake, and then when Hogan comes out and he does,
and they're high on. You can tell they're high as fuck.
Oh, that's on the promos. So good.
What's yours?
Me? No particular match because I was so little.
If I had this all time and you chick moment us, and my favorite moments when Elizabeth comes down.
It's gotta be.
I like when he wrestled on the
Thunder. My favorite moment too. There's nothing wrong with
you
that.
Gotta.
I knew you're gonna chick moment us.
She just jumps out over the barrier and goes in and
I know she loved him.
I'm gonna say that moment every time. But as matches and stuff go, I don't remember one particular match, and I've never really went back and watched one particular match of his. But I would say about like probably the Mega Powers for me, not the Explosion, but when they were a tag team, because my dad loved that tag team. Yeah. That was his favorite.
I'm in the same boat. I'm going to be completely honest. I think when it comes to like matches that stick in my head, when it comes to Macho Man, really nothing did growing up. Like, I can't remember as a kid being like, oh my, because I don't think the actual match itself retained in my brain. It was the story.
Like, there's a cage match with Flair at Super Brawl.
Didn't he have a cage with Tito Santana too, where he did a promo where he's like,
he could have. I don't remember that, but there was a really good one with DDP at one of the Great American Bashes. I think it might have been like a False Count Anywhere or No Holds Barred match, but the story is what puts the Warrior match.
Yeah, and that's for me. Like, I think when it comes to Macho Man, or most of that
Macho Man versus Renegade when he turned.
Yeah, most of those moments.
The Hogan and Savage against the Alliance and Hulkamania in that big 3-tower cage.
We want to watch.
They forget to pin Ric Flair.
I'll tell you what, that match. I started watching.
That's something else.
So I was in our group chat. This is months ago. Before this is when they still had the WWE Network, and I said I'm gonna go back and watch all the Monday Night Nitros, and I'm gonna lead in from the Nitros to the pay-per-views. And I watched everything up until that very first War Games or whatever, like the first War Games 1 or 2, when they're all coming out with the camo paint versus.
That was against the Dungeon of Doom.
And I literally put in the chat, I'm like, this is fucking dog shit.
You want to hear a one-sided match? These are the two teams in this War Games. The Dungeon of Doom team, it is Kamala, it is the Shark. It is
Beefcake Bob,
the Zodiac. Yes, no, yes, no. And Ming, the monster Ming. That is your heel team. And your babyface team is Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Sting, and Lex Luger.
Yeah.
Not even Ming can do anything with that.
A little one-sided.
If it was a shoot, Ming could do a lot. But it wasn't a shoot. They would have all been dead.
But it's just like, I remember watching that. I was like, this is fucking everything. Like, I know, like on Cheese Like Suplex, and you guys are always like big fans of WCW. You're like, man, sometimes it was better. And then I try to go back and watch. I guess I'm just catching stinkers. I'm just like, this is fucking bad.
You started at Nitro.
Yeah.
And Nitro really hit its stride with the Savage Flair feud in the NWO. But a lot of the stuff we're talking about is pre-Nitro.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to. I guess I'm going to appreciate it more when I get to it, because of this stuff was so.
You were watching this stuff where they were trying to be WWF because they had Hogan.
Yeah.
Interesting. You have to stick with it.
But if you go back and watch a Raw from '97,
Oh, they're not good either.
Yeah.
no.
They're not. They don't hold up to.
That's my favorite part about. I will say this. I'll say this: you watching a Raw.
I mean, there's good stuff,
Yeah.
but for the most part, it's like
watching a Raw '97 and those in between matches that nobody cared.
Yeah,
it's just like but
there
some of those in between matches
stuff is horrible.
Yeah, but some of those in between matches that were just filler on WCW were like low key matches. You're like, holy fuck, I would want to see that.
Yeah, especially when they took all the guys from ECW and like all the Lucha guys.
Saturn and Jericho.
I watched Ric Flair versus Styx, 1, 2, 3 Kid.
Yeah,
Sean Waltman. I was like, this is fucking good.
Like, I'm gonna tease the cheesesteak suplex that's gonna be going up on Sunday this week. We ran through these Starcades post when they came off of Thanksgiving, starting in like.
I've only watched one Starcade, and that was the very first one.
Yeah, like we ran through some stuff from like Starcade 88, 89. But if you go to like Starcade 95, 90, 96, 95 is when the New Japan thing. That one. Some of the matches are like, I know he's not a guy you want to bring up, but it's like Chris Benoit against Shinjiro Otani or somebody like that.
Listen, what Benoit did to his family is awful, but what he did in a ring was fucking incredible.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
And there's matches like it's Dean Malenko and Ultimo Dragon for the J Crown. Like that's an opener on a Starcade.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Those first couple opening matches that Starcade we watched, I was like, oof.
No, if like
it was rough.
Back in the '80s, the first couple matches, the first 4 were always kind of bad.
Yeah.
They would build up,
Sam Houston.
I think that show ended with what? Flair beating
Race.
Holly Race, yeah. Is that where the guy's dick falls out?
No, that was like 86. So it was Flair and Nikita.
Okay. Yeah.
Now the best match on that show, the first Starcade, by far the best match is Piper and Greg Valentine in the dog collar match.
Yeah.
That's a good match.
Oh yeah.
That is a good match
to
this day.
Yeah. I don't know. I have to go back and like that was the cool thing we were doing for a little bit there is like challenge each other to watch stuff. I know I pitched it a couple times to you, but I want you to like yo go to the network and just watch this show. And I like just kind of what was that random generator we have or would like watch this match?
I think that's probably gone by now.
Yeah, but like
the network goes.
If there's something that you guys would like want us to watch or look into, even if we just talk about it for a few minutes, comment or send us an email or do a comment or anything. Let us know what match you would want us to check out or a show or an angle you want us to cover, or is there a topic you want to hear? But yeah, did you may I say going back match wise, nothing really sticks out. It's more or less the stories, the build up. I really liked when the Tito and Savage build up and storylines that were fun. Like his first run as IC champion. For some reason, a lot of people's first title runs for me stick out very heavily. Like the first time he won the IC title, like that sticks in my brain. Like those promos, like I'm very upset with you. Like I mean, like and then like with Sean, like Sean's first title run with the IC title, like will always be ingrained in my brain as one of my favorites. Like the ladder match, that
was the second run.
That was
actually in between runs.
Yeah, but that
that was Razor Ramon's first run.
Yeah, so like those early stuff with them, it really stands out more than when they actually hit the main one. They get the Ricky Steamboats and the Hogans.
The one for me is because it's when I really get locked in as a wrestling fan was his first run with the WWF title, because I was a little young to remember him as the Intercontinental Champion. But that first run in post WrestleMania 4.
Where are we at when it comes to the title at that time? Is that the Eagle? So that Eagle was on Savage. He won the title
in '88.
So that title was on Savage, Hogan, Sean, and Brett.
Savage, Hogan, Sean, Brett, Diesel,
Yokozuna.
Okay. Bob Backlund for a second.
I love that fucking belt.
Diesel.
Diesel.
Austin won it, and then they retired it.
Sid, Undertaker.
And that's when he
was the last one.
They made it more oval, like it was the Eagle, but it was like ovaled out more.
It was like I always think it looks like a big like sewer cap or something.
Yeah, it looks like
I hate it that time.
Yeah, it looked like it's sewer cap. A manhole cover.
I didn't like that belt either.
Yeah.
I didn't mind the one that like Eddie Guerrero and Brock had, the undisputed title. I didn't mind that one.
That was okay.
Mm-hmm. Eddie, what do you want to plug?
Finish chewing.
Sorry.
That's all right. I guess PPW. Open season. What's that? December 11th.
Yep. December 11th.
Week from Saturday.
There's not many shows right now. A lot of places wind down for the end of the year. They don't do much around the holidays. Some people say, "Oh, people don't come out around the holidays." But like back in the day, the big shows were always Thanksgiving and Christmas. So sometimes they come out. But if you have a good product, people will come out. But anyway, PPW, December 11th, Bridesville, open season.
Could be a fun show. A lot of fun stuff going on there.
And I think True has a show coming up called Tilt-A-Whirl or something, or Tilt-A something. I forget. Maybe not. Maybe that's the one that happened. I'm not sure exactly. A lot of people are taking a break.
A lot of really exciting stuff coming to PPW in the future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You never know. I'm
Lot of
really
really
hoping
fun
like
stuff.
Keith Lee shows up and Ember Moon.
Yeah, Keith Lee, Ember Moon will be fun.
The true wrestling thing is actually going to. Oh, it was in November. It was November 12th.
Oh, is that the Tilt the World? Is there?
Yeah,
did they announced a new one for December? Or are they not? I think they do every 2 months.
Looking it up. Yeah, the last thing they have here is about the Toys for Tots show they did on the 27th.
Yeah,
and then after the 11th, the next weekend is Christmas Eve, right? Or Christmas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's New Year's Eve, so or whatever.
No,
so.
after the 11th is the 18th.
Oh, the 18th.
And then,
okay, and then the last 2 weekends will be Christmas and New Year's Day.
Yeah,
So
which are on weekends.
No one's
so
gonna run then.
Yeah.
So nobody does shows around like between Christmas and New Year's and stuff then? Because see that when
If it's
I'm
on a weekend,
thinking-
they might, but like I think they actually fall on weekends this year.
Okay.
Like if Christmas, let's say Christmas is a Wednesday,
Yeah.
and then there's a Friday and Saturday before New Year's Eve, then yes.
Yeah, I
but
was
when
gonna
it's
say.
like Sunday or Saturday's New Year's Eve,
Because they were the hardest
No.
games to get for the Bears.
and
like,
a lot of people don't want to
Really?
go, and because a lot. So
they were
you go.
sellouts every time and standing room onlys
But then
between the holidays.
years
like
ago in the territories, that was always the biggest day was
Yes.
Thanksgiving or Christmas, where
Yeah.
they make the most money because
Yeah.
the people would have their meal and then they'd go watch the wrestling.
Yeah.
At 6 o'clock.
Thanksgiving was big in Georgia. It was big in North Carolina. Christmas was big in Dallas, in Texas. Yeah,
You know why that works for them though? They don't have to drive in snow in December.
The
in
weather. The weather doesn't help.
Yeah. But I mean, even like they would run shows in the north though, like Chicago AWA would run like a big Christmas show.
Yeah, but snow in Chicago, just like that's just fucking normal to them.
It should be normal to us.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
it is,
should
but
be
we still
normal for
fucking
us.
can't figure it out. Like they're like,
It's
we
the-
don't know where to
it's
put all
the
this
same.
plowed snow.
No,
It's the
you know
same
what
everywhere.
happens? Nobody wants to plow anymore until the damn thing's done. That's the problem. I remember plow trucks going all the time. When I
Yeah,
was
now
little.
they just wait.
Now they just wait.
I
until
still
it's
get
done.
that, but it's because I live near a school. So
Yeah.
they're down my street all the time.
Brian, what do you got? Anything else you want to plug?
You have a show this weekend, don't you?
Oh yeah, I do. It's called Superstar Wrestling, but the poster I don't think has the address on it.
Oh.
So I was like, okay.
All right.
There you go.
Who've you gone?
So
What town is it in?
I believe it's in Scotland, Pennsylvania. It's down by the Maryland
Going to
border somewhere.
Scotland?
Yeah, it's going all
That
the way
would
to
be
Scotland.
awesome if it was in Scotland.
Yeah.
I'd try to make that trip then.
So I'll try and find it, but like,
What if you flew to Scotland to see Andy
I
had her
believe it
job
is
in
in
3
the
seconds?
Scotland Community Center.
is
I
that
wouldn't
it?
be just there
Yeah,
for
that's
that.
what it looks
I'd
like.
be there for Edinburgh
One thing I don't like is when people make
in the
posters
Highlands.
and they don't put the city, or they don't put the time it starts, or they don't put the date on it.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot in wrestling. You think that should be the main thing?
Yeah.
Like back in the day, it was like, yo, September 8th at the whatever.
When you have to search
Scranton,
for it, it's
Pennsylvania.
like, yeah, what the hell with it?
Yeah, if you put it real small at the bottom, people aren't gonna come.
It
If
is,
it's real big. It's easy to read.
It is at the Scotland Community Center.
Okay.
Oh, Brian's got
SSW
it.
Christmas Chaos this Saturday at 5 p.m. Even though it is the Scotland Community Center, it is at 3832 Scotland Main Street in Chambersburg.
Oh, Chambersburg.
Just outside of Scotland,
there we go.
Pennsylvania. The
I
main
didn't even
event
know
is
there was a
the
Scotland,
Christmas
Pennsylvania.
Chaos match for the SSW Heavyweight Championship. And do you know who you're going to be wrestling on this show?
I seen something, and it was me versus Werewolf Creed, but I don't know
okay.
if that's still happening. So
Oh, here it is. Yeah. Werewolf Creed put out an open challenge, which has been quickly accepted by Andy Head.
yeah,
There you go.
That's going to be so much fun. I love
You mean
Tyrant.
you know you're wrestling
Yeah.
World Creed, because you accepted the challenge.
I wish I could be there for that because I love those guys.
Oh,
I love
yes.
Tyrant.
yeah.
Yes,
I
yes.
don't know if
Grey Wolf.
Grey Wolf was gonna be there. I would assume, but I don't know.
Dude,
There was so much fun at Outbreak. I got a chance to help produce
did you
some
ever
stuff with
did
them.
you ever
at
bro
Big Frog.
hug Grey Wolf? Like the bro hug where you hug and kind of bring
Possibly. Yeah.
dude,
I don't
it's
know,
like
fan.
fucking hugging a stone.
Because he's a mass of humanity.
Dude, he's this is weird, but it's I guess it's not in wrestling community, but like you fucking like
He's solid, is what you're saying.
People move like
Yeah.
he is like a fucking like his skin and is like a rock.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine like if he hit you like legit like
yeah.
One of the most fun, creative people to work with too.
and
behind the scenes, too.
he doesn't like. I even said in the podcast before. I feel like when you see a guy like that and he's just so fucking jacked and it's like
And you're like, oh, he's
and
gonna be an
scary
asshole.
and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that. Like not even an asshole. Like I feel like he would
No.
take himself too seriously and he won't. Be.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's the first one to pitch something funny or entertaining, like
Mhm.
like the fucking Scooby Doo thing with
Yeah,
the.
it got cut from the final cut, but he wanted to do the slow Baywatch run. when
Yeah.
They're doing the Scooby-Doo
or
chase
even
scene.
when they like it wasn't used on any promotion, it was kind of used on social media. Is when they were chasing the runway and the runway was running around all the like in the car and then they're like, "Rah!" they're running back up. Like they're fucking awesome.
They are very fun people to have on your show. If you're always bring in Tyron if you can.
Werewolf Creed announced in that video game too.
Oh, cool.
Yep,
yeah. Valtrix games. Yeah.
I might have to send them the link. Be like, hey guys, you should fill this out and come on the show one time.
Yeah.
That'd be fun to talk
I'm
to.
sure he probably would.
Yeah. I like them a lot. I'm a really big fan of them. I think I found them. I think the first time I found them, the first time I really got exposed to them both was Outbreak.
I seen Grey Wolf before because he did a couple of Outbreak shows before.
He used to be at Robbie Blizzard's Valhalla champion. Yeah. Good guy.
So anyway, we're getting to my plugs, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the same thing as always. Project2minute.com. Big week coming up. But this is one of those double show weeks. Murder My Dude. This is a week. We're doing it as every other week. It is actually coming out in about an hour and 20 minutes. It comes out at midnight tonight. We covered the one of the biggest mass murderers in Chicago history.
H.H. Holmes?
Richard Speck. We've done H.H. Holmes way back.
Okay.
Richard Speck, it was like all one night. He killed a bunch of people. It's called Born to Raise Hell, my dude, because he had Born to Raise Hell tattooed on his arm.
Oh, wow.
And he raised some hell in the 1960s.
I wonder if he got that
Chicago.
at Abaddon Tattoo Studio, huh?
Yeah. That's a little small town.
There we go. Segue.
Pottsville, Pine Grove, Pennsylvania. They do high quality tattoos and piercings, a relaxed, professional, and sterile environment. You can check out their links at our website and our rest of our sponsors that we didn't read off today at iwepnetwork.com.
Yeah, because we're doing the Macho Man.
Pod Decks, Tree of Life Metaphysical Shop, the usual.
2 Etsy shops. We have a lot going on. And go check out a little sponsor I'm going to plug in here too. Go check out All Yaz Wrestling. We're kind of working on a little deal where every now and then he'll share our content. We'll kind of put him as a
page on Facebook.
Page on Facebook. All Yaz Wrestling. He does a really good job, and he's very insightful. He was very helpful to me because I missed the first half of AEW, and I was like, well, fuck, what happened? I missed and I went on his page, and he has step by step a photo, and
he missed all the good stuff. Well, most of the good stuff if you missed the first half.
Yeah.
Danielson and Punk. And MJF.
He took and he'll literally say word for word what happened in the promo. Like if you miss a section of a show, you can go back on his page and he has it covered.
Like a live review. Yeah,
he does a good job.
And then this week also Sunday at midnight, Saturday and Sunday midnight, Cheesesteak Suplex is out, and we will be in the wrestling portion, which is a lot of the show this week. It's a wrestling heavy show. We are going to be talking about history of Starrcade from 1988 when it moved off of Thanksgiving until the end.
Yeah.
Nice.
I wish it was still on Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving Eve. That's okay because you think people still
that's the biggest party night of
it's like
them all.
Yeah, it's the biggest drinking night of the year.
Like they can't, even if it's on Thanksgiving, they can't argue. Oh, well, people have to go to work next day. Well, pay-per-views are always on Sunday, and most people have to work Monday, so that's no argument.
Was Black Friday shopping as big back then than it is now?
No.
I think
in the 90s, I know it was because my mom has some stories about getting me toys and stuff apparently. So the people were killing
maybe the late
other.
80s, early 90s.
I think it really got big in the late 90s to 2000.
That's actually made big.
My mom said she.
Well,
when Sega Genesis came out, when was that? Because she apparently got
90.
But it got a big push in the early 90s.
90.
Yeah,
91?
so I got that right away when it came out, and my mom always has this story of her getting in a fight with some
really?
dude at Sears over.
People were
she's like, I'm not going home without this Sega. My daughter knew my
and then you played Sonic 2.
Yeah,
they used to.
I did.
They used to always say until
cliche,
very recently the biggest shopping days of the year were actually 2 weekends before Christmas, even though Black Friday got all the hype.
Yeah.
That's something.
Callie, what do you got to plug?
Just same old like Brian. Distance Reiki sessions. Give me a. Oh, that's my watch.
What the fuck?
That's my Surrey. I made it an Irish guy.
Oh, okay.
That's what I like.
And he wants to tell you about Pod Deck.
Yeah.
There you go. You go ahead and plug Pod
Plug
Decks.
your stuff. Plug your stuff.
No,
our sponsors are on iwp.com.
Oh.
We fucking hate Pod Decks.
No, distance Reiki sessions. Sessions are starting to fill up actually with me for the month of December, so that's cool. Thank you for supporting me, everybody. And our Krampus night, our Krampus day, we're doing on Saturday.
Yeah,
down in Jim Thorpe.
If you want to come hang out with us, we're going to Jim Thorpe on Saturday, and we're all gonna.
Someone buy me some coffee.
Yeah, and we'll.
I need some coffee.
No, there's that.
I'll show you the shop.
Yeah, they have coffee beans and ground coffee.
Oh,
not just the drink. To make at your house.
Is that it?
Go ahead. Yep, that's it. Go ahead.
Once again, the iwepnetwork.com. All of Tornado Tag's content is officially all up. Not Cool in High School
on YouTube.
On YouTube,
okay.
yes. Not Cool in High School The only thing we need to upload are the interviews. Remember when we're for a while there, we did like an interview series that was separate from the show, and we were going to do like numbered interviews instead of just putting them on the show. We did it for Tornado Tag, and we did it for Not Cool in High School and Banging Beers. And then we're like, this is dumb. Let's just all put it to one thing. So there's a few interviews that were technically podcasts for Not Cool in High School, Tornado Tag, and Bangin' Beers. I'm still waiting to upload them. And Bangin' Beers is almost done season 2, and then season 3 will be on there. But we started something new that maybe interests you guys. If you're watching this on Facebook, we are going to upload every piece of content to Facebook as well. So when you go on Facebook, if you go to our video sections, there's little folders like our clips, because Kelly's been doing a fantastic job making the clips to put out there on all social media.
Can you put a folder like podcast 2019?
So season 1 will be on there, and all of the season 1 will be there. All season 2, all season 3. We're uploading all of season 1 now for all shows. Well, TBI only has 1 season, so that one will end quicker. But if you want to check out some past episodes of Interviews with Everyday People, Tornado Tag, Not Cool in High School, Bangin' Beers Podcast, and Truth Behind Illusion, follow those pages on Facebook. And we have set times that an episode is going to go live every single day until all the content is loaded. So you're looking at 120 some days of Tornado Tag podcasts in a row.
Where every 3 months.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of content. I'm not expecting everyone to watch every day, but that's just a little thing we're doing if you're bored and you want to check it out.
And that's why it's fun to do shows like these, because sometimes when you're recapping some of the like middle of the run, we did stuff where like, oh, what happened on Raw this week? What happened on SmackDown?
Yeah, and we try to get away from that unless it was really, really big.
Yeah, I always like these shows because you can listen to this one anytime.
Yes, exactly. So at 12 p.m. every single day, you can check out the newest episode of Interviews with Everyday People. Episode 1 just released today, and it was with Scotty McCoy. You can check out at 2 p.m. the newest from episode 1 on of Not Cool in High School podcast, which just hit its birthday today, today's the podcast birthday of Not Cool in High School. And at 4 o'clock is Tornado Tag podcast. We just uploaded episode 1, which is crazy to me. I went back and watched it. I was like, holy Hannah, look at us. 6 o'clock, Bangin' Beers podcast, and then 10 p.m. is going to be Truth Behind Illusions. And that's just for the Facebook feed. If you want to watch them on YouTube, we have the playlist there. If you're also on YouTube, subscribe, scroll to the bottom, and you'll see all of our other channels listed. Just give them a quick subscribe. Help us out. Let us grow. Help us grow and do all that fun stuff. The website also has the merch pages, the link trees. You could find that, the merch and all that other donations if you want to do so. Patreon. And that's all I got. We'll see you guys next time. Oh, yeah. Dig it.
That's right. Yeah.
Give us a Lenny Poffo out of here. Thank the listeners, Lenny, and let's get out of here.
As the genius, I just want to thank everyone that listened to the audio format of the show today, and if you watched online on the computer and you used one of those methods to procure this wonderful show about my terrific brother, the Macho Man Randy Savage. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
And that'll do it.